No!
Fiedler is dumb, and Dave Wanstead is dumbfounded.
I supported Bush after that tragic day, and to my surprise, disgust and shame, he let the sorties in Bin Laden get away, and shifted the blame to Saddam Hussein.
We got Iraq.
We're occupying Iraq.
Hey, how about that?
They're not the ones who attack.
Broken contracts.
What's going on with this
We
crap?
got Iraq.
We're occupying Iraq. Defense contractors are having fun as we spread freedom at the point of a gun. The blood money profits have only just begun for KBR, GE, and Halliburton. Needlessly sending our kids to die. And the drooling mugwumps still support this guy. An advanced stage of syphilis must be the reason why they believe George Bush is Jesus Christ.
We got Iraq.
We're occupying Iraq.
Hey, how about that?
They're not the ones who attack.
Broken contracts.
What's going on with this
We
crap?
got Iraq.
We're occupying Iraq. Boy, George, why do you take so many vacations?
You know, it's hard work. It's hard work. Everybody knows it's hard work. We've done a lot of hard work. I see on the TV screens how hard it is. Yeah,
It is so hard.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, we
Hey,
believe
just, play that again right now, would you? That was
Why is
great.
that?
I liked it. I hadn't heard that yet.
That bit?
Yeah.
Hey, I got the new crap today, man. We're not monkeying around. We're putting it into gear now. We're not holding back.
What do you mean by that monkey comment?
Now, let me ask you something. I am looking at my poll. Now, maybe it's my computer again, because you're always telling me, well, you haven't refreshed and you haven't...
Right, you haven't douched. Right.
Now, what's the story? Because I still see
the old poll on there. We're having some internet problems, so I don't know if Eric can hear us yet. Josh went out during the break and said to someone something.
Yeah.
But we were not streaming and might still not be.
Oh, no, we weren't streaming again?
Well, he said that we were, but you never know.
Oh, what's Fat Eric's excuse up there again?
We already got a couple of facts saying that we're not streaming.
And are we streaming now or not? Because I don't want to do like a really good show if the people on the internet can't hear it.
We have audio now.
Okay, we have audio now, which means get the new poll on there, Eric, and quick diddling around. Okay, Eric did a great job on that thing yesterday for the polling places in Broward.
Yes.
I'm wondering, though, why we only had the Broward ones and not the ones in Dade.
Because that's the site. That's what comes up on the site. If there's a different place for Dade, I don't know what it is. We have to go through more research.
Whatever. But at any rate, we got not only they put all the locations on there, but even the map. I mean, if you're dumber than sawdust, it shows you exactly. I mean, we did everything except like send a limo to pick you up and take you there to vote for John Kerry and for Betty Castor and for Prop 4 and against Prop 3. So get with it.
I mean, isn't everybody in Dade voting for Bush anyway? So we don't want to tell them.
No. In fact, I got a great story about that coming up a little bit later on. Here's a preview of some of my bedtime stories. Well, I got some good crap today. Early voting problems in Boca again. No, rocking the Cuban vote from the Nation. What a wonderful nation. You notice the only two things that they have left to talk about is that Kerry is too freaking liberal, and number two, that he picked on Cheney's daughter.
Right.
Cheney is still hocking with that crap about, well, it was she was fair game. They used that expression, and therefore was obviously something that was pre-planned, all this other crap. What the hell does that mean? What she meant by saying she was fair game means that she's out of the closet, that there was no impropriety in talking about her being a dyke. That's exactly what that means. But they're continuing to cater to the dumbest of the dumb, you know. And the fact that they don't understand is they already got those people. They got them locked up. They got all the trailer trash. Just look at that electoral map, those red states again, man. That's them. Dumb as us. Okay, let me vote on here. Oh, this is going to be tough. This could be the toughest poll I've ever taken. We've done this before, right?
Yes, we have. In various forms.
In various incarnations. How about those Red Sox, by the way?
Oh!
I went to bed because I do a great job avoiding this cold. I was definitely coming down with it. You know, you get the scratch and the mucus and the sore throat. And I did a fine job of doctoring myself. And so I went to bed. It was 4-0, and I see the Red Sox won. So I take back, and I'm going to tell you right now, Josh, why they won these 3 games.
Oh, why is that?
Now, you see, you're laughing already because they got the impetus. They got the enthusiasm. They got goosed up when the Patriots beat Seattle on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
You notice they hadn't won again. They lost 3 in a row. They got him blown out. I mean, just embarrassed. What was it, 19-8 or something the day before?
Yeah. Well, they're
all of a sudden, here they come and they win 3 in a row. They've evened up the World Series, even winning right there in New York at Yankee Stadium last night. And they can thank the Patriots and Tom Brady and Bill Belichick for that. That's the undefeated Patriots who've won 2 Super Bowls in the last 3 seasons and won 20 games in a row, as opposed to your Dolphins, who are, well, do we even need to say? Now, what was I just about to do here? Oh, I just voted.
Oh.
Well, Born Again Christians is taking the early lead. Well, I have no problem with that. That would be fine with me. How about the Jamaicans who are Born Again Christians and also on the weekends Jewish? I don't want to say there's any hanky-panky going on with the election. This story just should give you a great idea of what they're trying to pull, man. This is so amusing. Some absentee ballots distributed to Hamilton County voters don't include the name of Democratic presidential candidate John Kerry, local election officials confirmed yesterday. Yeah, they had a small mistake. They left Kerry's name off of there. So do you want to vote for Bush or Nader or a few other people that nobody ever heard of? Or that's it.
Bush.
Or Bush. In fact, probably they put Bush's name on there a second time where Kerry was supposed to be. Because of a printing error, limited election officials believed only a few ballots in the forest. They believe, we don't know, but that's what they're thinking. In the Forest Park area, absentee ballots recently mailed out exclude the Democratic presidential ticket of Kerry and John Edwards. It's a screw-up, said Tim Burke, chairman of the Hamilton County Board of Elections. This just feeds the paranoia that's out there. Mm-hmm. The tragic thing is that even though I think we have a very fair and accurate count here, this will cause people to question the accuracy of our operation.
No kidding.
I think the reason we weren't streaming, by the way, is because Howard got off early at 10:28 this morning.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good excuse. I don't know.
What a slacker.
Or maybe because Robert didn't hit the button. Because maybe Duff was too busy hitting Robert's button. Although election officials believe only 2 voters have received the inaccurate ballot to date, Burke said he's worried that the mix-up will open us up to all kinds of questions and concerns. No Schmidt. He also conceded that some may question whether the problem is indeed limited to only a few ballots. I guess we'll never know. I'm happy we're talking about a very small number, Burke said, but it's something that should never have happened. Again, no Schmidt is my comment. One of the voters who received the inaccurate ballot said today she just couldn't believe it when she opened her absentee ballot envelope and noticed that Kerry's name was just missing. I'm sure it's just an oversight. Right?
Yeah.
I knew enough to see something was wrong, said the voter, who asked not to be identified, but you wonder whether others maybe didn't notice it before they sent their ballots back. The printing error is the second major mistake to plague Hamilton County's absentee ballots for the upcoming election. Earlier this month, officials scrapped 17,500 absentee ballots after Ohio Secretary of State Kenneth Blackwell ordered presidential candidate Ralph Nader off the ballot because of invalid signatures on his candidacy petitions. Those ballots also had been tainted by the Elections Board discovery that the punch positions of Hamilton County engineer Bill Brayshaw and one of the candidates for Ohio Supreme Court had been swished. Nader's removal from ballots throughout Ohio also figures to the new problem that caused Kerry's name to be dropped. See, I didn't realize that Nader's not on there. Good. In seeking to remove Nader's name from some local ballots, Hamilton County officials inadvertently struck Kerry's name instead. So in other words, I was right. Nader was on there along with Bush, and it was Kerry that got knocked off. Well, at least they were trying. On the flawed ballots, the words candidate removed appear on the line where Kerry's name should appear. On the line below Nader's name, where candidate removed actually should have been printed, remains. So it had Bush and Nader and no Kerry, which is really scary. Zion America, baby. And then the registrations, the Democratic registrations that were torn up in Oregon, we actually saw the pictures of it in the wastebasket. Oh, that was just a disgruntled ex-employee. Right. Yeah. They've always got an answer for everything, man. They've always got some bogus answer, just like this crap with Teresa Lepore again, and just like all this other bogus garbage going on in South Florida once again. And it's only pre-voting now. It's only a little foreplay. And they still can't get it straightened out. Which, of course, when this kind of crap goes on, this makes it very easy for them to kind of wait till 2 weeks from yesterday and kind of like see which way the things are going and how many votes they need to fix in New Mexico and how many votes they need to fix up in Wisconsin and how many need to fix up again in Florida. I'm sure that Glenda in the hood is working feverishly on that, along with that fat-ass governor of yours. Don't forget Betty Castor for Senate, muy importante. Just say no to Mel Martinez, that Nazi piece of crap. Yes on Proposition 4. Oh, the slots. You ought to see the article that's in the Herald. I mean, talk about biased. I've been saying that for years. The Herald puts their editorial opinions on the news pages, and then again on the editorial pages too, but just amazing. They're so hysterical about those slot machines, those one-eyed bandits. Ooh, they're going to get you. All you got to do is play them once, man. You'll be hooked. You'll never have another dime to your name. But play that lottery. That's a good bet.
You said one-eyed bandits, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not one-eyed monster. Are you starting it again? I'm going to report you to Joyce, mister. 10:56 at 560. I can't wait to get on Joyce Free Radio.
Have Norm call her.
If you find yourself looking in the mirror and thinking you could be doing a lot better if you had some hair, if you get kind of a scare when you see that bald spot, here's the answer. Call my good buddy Chuck Alfieri. Charlie's been helping the famous and the infamous and everybody in between for over 30 years now.
About 30 man.
That is correct. But you would never recognize Charlie's work when you see it because it looks like real hair. You never know it's a piece. Charlie's created the best, the most natural system in the business. The most critical area of any hair system, which I've been telling you forever, is the hairline. That's the deal. And Charlie's new skin-like hair system is 100% undetectable. The hair looks like it's grown right out of your scalp, as opposed to some barnyard animal fell out of the sky onto the top of your head. And Charlie's work is guaranteed. You have nothing to lose but that ugly bald spot that makes you look so bad and old. You try a system for 30 days.
About 30, man.
And after a month, if you don't love the way it looks and feels and smells, you return it, get your money back. Make the call today. Tell Charlie you heard about it here on the world-famous Neil Rogers Show and get you your special QAM $200 discount off the regular $800 price of that natural hairline system. Call toll-free 1-800-321-2413. And don't forget there's no obligation. Charlie will sit your ass down and show you how much better and younger he can make you look at a very minimal price. Here's that toll-free number again, 1-800-321-2413, or on the wicked web, it's charlesalfieri.com.
Listening to Neil Rogers.
Beware of exploding balls.
And I like to be free. And you push it in for the liberty. Making the gas and we don't have to eat. We the people in Iraq just have to be free.
You can plainly say, freedom's on the march for those Iraqis. But from the point of a gun, we're spreading our freedom. Democracy that these Iraqis want us so desperately now. At least to my commonsensical perspectives. Listen to him shouting now.
Freedom's on the march, but I got the ring. I'm very happy in Iraq to be free. Thank you, Mr. Bush, for just one thing. We have water and electricity.
Iraqis over there. They're living a land of freedom. That's car bomb on the horn. Come on, bring them right on through. Put a few more dead troops.
11:02 at 560 WQM. Happy Wednesday to you. Look at that. Price of crude oil's up almost $1 today, 54.20 as I speak. The Dow's down 63 points, and the Nasdaq's down 3. By the end of the week, the Nasdaq's going to be back in the 1800s, and pretty soon the Dow's going to be down, hovering around 9,000.
Why can't you ever say something positive?
Jobs, nobody's got jobs, and the jobs they do have now are paying a fraction of what they used to pay. Everything, every single issue you look at, like I said yesterday, is crap. And you got Dale Waltrip on there yesterday on CNN with Wolf Blitzkrieg making his big pitch for W. And that is shocked that the NASCAR crowd is for W. That was one of the most, I don't know whether to laugh or cry, one of the most amusing things I've seen in years. Dale Waltrip. Well, you know, you shake George Bush's hand and you're shaking hands with a real man, you know?
Yeah. Draft dodger, cheerleader.
Now one of them lily-livered, pinko fag
frat
liberals.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Oh, here's another one. Now, you had this when you did the poll. Please add Republicans. I forgot about that. Yeah, you did this not that long ago, but that's okay.
Something like that.
Yeah, let's add that on there, Josh. It'll give you something to do. Put Republicans on there, please. How's that poll coming? So anyway, Wolf Blitzkrieg, much to my amazement, actually put his feet to the floor a little bit, Dale Waltrip. Put his pedal to the metal. And he said, well, what about the fact that John Kerry, volunteered for service during Vietnam, and George W. Bush, joined the National Guard? And Waltrip's response was, which is obviously scripted. You know, they give him all the little the lines to use.
Right. The
comes up with of course, Bush is big on lines. Comes up with this crap about, well, that really speaks. That's an insult to the people in the Guard today. And Wolf Blitzkrieg amazingly stepped out of his Nazi boots long enough to remind him that the people in the Guard today, 43% of them have been, are now, or will be in Iraq, as opposed to back during the Vietnam War, when joining the Guard was just another way of dodging the draft. And his response was, just like Bush's response on is he in favor of Roe v. Wade or repealing it, a non-answer. He came back with, well, all I know is that George Bush is a straight shooter, and you shake his hand and all that. And he's a great, and I love George Bush. That was his response, which was really, really well worthwhile having him on there. We'll get to that whole thing. I got a great story about CNN and about that thing that bulged in Bush's jacket. I got some good stuff here today, but we better take a whole bunch of calls, don't you think?
Let's do that.
No, let's look at the poll first. Which of these groups bug you the most? Born Again Christians, 60. We do that. In fact, let's do this once a month just so we can get out of our system. 126 votes. Born Again Christians have got about half of them. I Hate Everybody, 19. Cuban, 16. WQM, hello.
Hey, Neil, what's going on?
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
All right.
I remember before you said you don't have any audio for Eddie K, but you used to say Eddie K runs the GA. You don't say that no more.
No, I guess that's what we'll have to do. Eddie K from GA.
Thanks, brother.
Okay, and thank you. Hey, these are good calls, aren't they? The first guy, like an overgrown child. What happened to Howard? Howard's still on. You guys cut him off. We don't cut Howard off. But when he says the last word, the last breath, that's when the Stern Show ends on this station, okay? So don't give us a song and a dance, you emotional cripple, simple than you, that where's Howard, okay? That was the first call, and they're getting worse from there. But I like taking a lot of these. It's the bread and butter. Right?
Right.
Like line 9's my favorite. QAM, hello.
How you doing?
Okay, how you doing?
Did you get my facts?
Your facts about what? Saying what?
The poll questions from yesterday.
About Republicans?
No, about that poll questions about the movies everyone should see, and I sent it to George. George usually never.
Did we get the facts, George? Did we get this guy's facts?
I don't remember any facts like that.
Didn't get it, so send it again. Get with it. That movies everybody should see. We've done that more times than this stupid one we're doing today. Get with it, pal.
I don't recall seeing a fax like
Boy, you people, man, are stiller than last year's matzah. Get with it.
Of course, remember, I did have to reset the machine this morning, so maybe he sent it after it.
He probably sent it and you didn't get it because your machine was screwed up. I couldn't fax it this morning either. And then I went back to bed just to make sure I missed certain people. I certainly hope that those people get the message. This isn't like a couple of a day deal. If they want to deal with anybody, they can deal with you or they can call Norm Kent. I'm not dealing with people who want to ruin my day. See, here's a great piece of philosophy, and I really mean this. If your wife ruins your day, dump the bitch. If your kid ruins your day, put him out on the street, make him homeless. I mean, anybody ruins your day, just take them out of your lives. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Life is too short to have people ruin your day.
What if they ruin, like, whole years of your life?
Well, in that case, and then dump them, like in the ocean would be good.
Or in the canal.
FDA stops distribution of unauthorized flu vaccine from Canada. The federal government stopped some central... This is hysterical. This is a panic. And I should point out that the people in Canada aren't too excited about this idea that the American public is going to start draining all of the drug supplies from Canada. They're getting a little bit paranoid about that because they only manufacture a limited amount because there's only how many million people here?
About 30, man.
In Canada. But nevertheless, I saw this yesterday also on the Certainly Not News Nazi Network about, the FDA hasn't really checked some of these vaccines from Canada. The FDA, the same people that approved Vioxx and thalidomide and all these other drugs that have killed zillions of people. The FDA, which is nothing but a sellout to all the manufacturers, food manufacturers and all the other the drug manufacturers. Anyway, the federal government stopped some Central Floridians from getting flu shots yesterday or today. It says Wednesday, and that's today, because the vaccine was from a Canadian company not approved for use in the U.S. Unless it's Thursday and I don't realize it yet. Is it Thursday? It's Friday, huh?
Yeah, right. There
About 6,000 doses of the vaccine were to be given for free starting today at clinics in Orange, Seminole, and Osceola counties as seniors desperately try to get shots amid a national vaccine shortage. FDA officials had no details about the mix-up. They were investigating how the unlicensed vaccines ended up being shipped. The doses were received Monday by Get Healthy Florida, a partnership of Florida Hospital, the Orange County Health Department, and others. The vaccine came from Shire Pharmaceuticals Group, a British company that sold its vaccine division in September to a Canadian company, ID Biomedical. Get Healthy Florida bought its vaccines from Taylor's Pharmacy in Winter Park. Store owner Alan Deaver said he ordered the doses through a major wholesaler, McKesson Corporation. Deaver realized they weren't from Aventis Pasteur, the only authorized maker left for the U.S., but still sent them to doctors' offices at Get Healthy Florida. He didn't know how many doctors had received the vials or whether they'd been given to the patients. Federal officials were negotiating with ID Biomedical to secure a small amount of doses in January, said Lester Crawford, acting FDA commissioner, and that's the end of the story. So in other words, because the FDA hasn't put their squeal of approval on it yet, therefore these old farts that are standing in line, holishing in 85-degree heat for hours and hours, they're ready to pass out and croak right on the sidewalk. In fact, did you see there was one woman had a heart attack and died? You see that?
Yes.
Waiting for her flu shot, you miserable bastard.
2,000.
Yeah, 2,000 people are going to die because this idiot isn't on top of things. He screams, he hollers. He's always really good when he's prescripted and got that little thing in his ear.
But when he shakes your hand.
Yeah, when he shakes his hand, you're talking to a real man, man, when he shakes it. Charity halts Iraq work after aid chiefs kidnapped. Better take a few calls, though, first. Probably get some voting updates on what's going on around town. WQAM, hello.
Neil, Don.
Yes, sir.
How are you, sir?
Okay.
I called you yesterday about Link TV. I just wanted to give you their website. I saw it last night.
Called me yesterday, huh? Oh, okay. WQAM, hello.
Do you pay Canadian taxes? You
I beg your pardon? Oh, this guy again. Do I pay? Oh, he's back. After a long absence, that one's back. No, I have no Canadian income, sir, but I do pay GST and PST and AST. Taxes here are brutal. So just blow it out your ass and get a life. WQAM, hello.
Hello?
QAM? Yes, sir.
Yeah, can I talk to Neil?
Speaking.
Neil.
Yes.
Did you hear Jay Fielder's been stuck out of his house the last 3 days?
Who? Jay Fielder. Oh, who the hell's that?
Well, you know why? They painted a goal line across his front door.
Yeah, okay, great. Very funny. 567-0560, pound 560 on the Verizon and Singular. I told you they're going to be good today, right?
Wow. You said you had a lot of stuff.
I do have a lot of stuff. I'll get it all in. Let's see. Oh, New Yorkers, it says. Can't stand any of them, even those in my family, says this fax from somebody.
Good choice. They'll do well on this poll.
Okay, New Yorkers. New Yorkers? Put New Yorkers on there.
They always take one of the top 3 positions when we do this.
Yeah, we've done this poll before, and I don't know.
What?
Kind of a negatory thing, which is why we get such a big response on it. They like negatory. They like hate. Like these calls we're getting today. I'm glad to see, though, that the Whisperer is back. That's good. I was a little bit worried about him. I thought maybe they got the butterfly net and took his ass away.
No, he called last week, too.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. He's at work.
Building is boring. Building is boring.
Because he's at work.
12 minutes after 11 at 560 WQAM. If you want to know more about following a low-carb diet, if you're fat as a cow and you want to lose some weight and stay alive, if you want the best-tasting, biggest selection of low-carb foods at the best price, here's a store you are going to love. It's called, you got it, Delights of West Boca. Whether you're starting or restarting the Atkins, the Sugar Busters, the South Beach diet, God forbid, or any low-carb, sugar-free diet, Delights of West Boca has always been the #1 low-carb store in South Florida. Now, like I always tell you, you can buy your meat and your cheese and your seafood in the supermarket, but if you want some variety, if you want some goodies that you can kind of like get some taste out of, here's the answer for you. Delights of West Boca, your low-carb headquarters. They've got over 1,200 products like Carbolite ice cream, breads, pasta, chocolates, brownies, cookies, and more. The people who work there know low-carb dieting inside and out. Delights is open every day of your life, 7 days a week from 10 a.m. till 10 p.m. You'll find Delights on the northeast corner of Glades and 441, right next to Boston Market, or call them toll-free at 1-877-LOW-CARB. That's LOW-CARB, low-carb. Or on the web, it's lowcarb.com. There's only one, but it's Delights of West Boca, your official Atkins retail center.
You're listening to Neil Rogers. On 560 QAM.
Father, could you help an old altar boy? I'm a Catholic.
No.
Everybody hates everybody all the time. Oh! That's the way of life in Florida.
Absolutely.
Forehead pop with veins in anger, in hostile bedroom down. Everybody hates everybody all the time. Riding on intolerance and fear. It's where disenfranchised congregate, and they don't want you here. You'll find their attitude quite sour. With a machete they threaten to slice you to the bone. Then in the gridlock of rush hour, out the window someone calls you Matacone.
Increíble.
Everybody hates everybody all the time. Something in the breeze is wafting from Pompano, PU.
Oh, I don't think we can say PU no more. Sorry, Joyce, we won't do it again. 11:18, and here's an interesting fax from Frank in Melbourne, who says, Bush says no draft. Okay, then why is the Selective Service looking for draft board members? I enclose a copy of the Selective Service information request page from their website. You can find it under careers. Like that touch, careers for chicken hawks. If there's no draft plan, then why the need for draft board members? And anyway, here's the second sheet that it includes, which is a copy of that. Local board membership information request. It said, local board members are volunteers appointed by the President. They play an important community role closely connected with our nation's defense. If a military draft becomes necessary, approximately 2,000 local boards throughout America would decide which young men in each community receive deferments, postponements, or exemptions from military service based on federal guidelines. And if you're interested in receiving information on becoming a board member for the Selective Service, please complete this form. Must be 18 years old or citizen of the U.S., must have registered with the Selective Service, yada, 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 and it goes on. How do you like that? But I guess it's just an exercise, right? Just in case.
Right. Who knows? There might be a war someday.
Oh. Now, what's this other thing you just faxed me, this constitutional amendment?
Oh, I aborted it because it was long. In other words, it's a breakdown of all of the amendments.
Oh, Amendment 1 is the parental notification of a minor's termination of pregnancy, which, of course...
Do you want these? It's like 6 pages.
No.
Okay.
I don't want all of these. I mean, the ones... So. It's obvious what you're going to vote against. You're going to vote against that, right?
Right.
And the second one, I have no idea what this is. Constitutional amendments proposed by initiative. I don't know. Oh, you're supposed to be on top of all this. Well, I'm not. Too bad.
Okay, I'll send you the just the cover page.
Huh?
Which just has them listed.
We got bigger fish to fry, okay? Charity halts Iraq work after aid chiefs kidnap. Aid organization Kerry International suspended its operations in Iraq completely following the kidnapping of Margaret Hassan, it was announced today. CARE Australia confirmed it had halted all work in Iraq because of the kidnapping and said it expected to release a statement within hours. CARE Australia Chief Executive Robert Glasser told Australia's ABC Radio, "Our staff are not operating currently there and are certainly not working there now in light of the current situation." He said CARE Australia did not know why she'd been kidnapped. She, by the way, I don't know if you saw the story, she'd lived there for 30 years.
Yes.
About 30, man.
So in other words, it's not like she just went there to start doing these things, the good work she was doing. And she'd been there for 30 years, but evidently, she
it's
just...
not a good time to be a non-Iraqi in Iraq.
Right. She was born in Dublin, holds dual British and Iraqi nationality. She was snatched just hours before as she was driven to work in the west of the capital yesterday morning. Al Jazeera reported that an unnamed armed Iraqi group said it kidnapped Mrs. Hassan. So there you go. It continues, the butchering and the beheadings and all these other good things. I saw a great show on the Biography Channel last night about the Saudi royal family.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Oh,
our
man.
Buddies?
What
our friends?
Huh?
Our friends?
Our good buddies, the Saudis, baby. Bandar Bush, all them good boys. I'll tell you one thing, when Bandar Bush holds hands with George W., and George W. waves his pom-poms with the other hand, he's like a real man, you know?
They're both
That's
real,
what Dale
real
Waltrip said. Well, you're sure faxing me a bunch of stuff. Let's see. The second amendment is constitutional amendments proposed by initiative, whatever the hell that is. The medical liability, well, we know that we're voting no on number 3, and yes on number 4, which is allowing... See, number 4, I want to make one thing very clear. It authorizes the voters of Dade and Broward to approve slot machines in pari-mutuel facilities, in other words, in the dog, highlight, and racetracks,
correct,
horse tracks.
Doesn't make it automatic.
It doesn't make it automatic, which means that Dade and Broward would still, if this is statewide approved, and I can't imagine why it wouldn't be, because this money is guaranteed. Unlike the lottery, this is guaranteed. They've got safeguards in there. There's a whole article in the Herald about it today, which even as negative as they try to be, makes it very clear that this money will go to education in the state.
Yeah, but it encourages sin.
Well, too bad. But if it does pass statewide, then there'd be another election in Dade and in Broward. And, of course, the last times that the gambling thing was on a ballot, it passed in Dade and Broward. So I think it's just kind of a moot point after that. But at any rate, that's number 4, which you will vote yes, please. The minimum wage amendment, number 5, I have no idea what that is. Do you?
No.
Repeal of a high-speed rail amendment. Oh, how's that high-speed train coming, by the way? That bullet train.
Oh, there it goes. I just saw it.
Patients' right to know about adverse medical... Well, maybe some people can... I'll do a little homework. We still got 2 weeks. I'll do a little bit of homework and find the thumbnail sketch of each one of them.
Or I'll just fax them to you.
Or whatever. Why, you got it all there?
Yeah, it's coming through. I canceled it and it's coming through again.
Here's a much more important story. The 9/11 secret in the CIA's back pocket. This is from the LA Times and Robert Scheer. He says, it is shocking... The Bush administration is suppressing a CIA report on 9/11 until after the election, and this one names names. Although the report by the Inspector General's Office of the CIA was completed in June, it hasn't been made available to the Congressional Intelligence Committees that mandated the study almost 2 years ago. It's infuriating that a report which shows that high-level people were not doing their jobs in a satisfactory manner before 9/11 is being suppressed, an intelligence official who has read the report told me, adding that the report is potentially very embarrassing for the administration because it makes it look like they weren't interested in terrorism before 9/11 or in holding people in the government responsible afterward, kind of like what Richard Clark said. When I asked about the report, Representative Jane Harman of California, ranking Democratic member of the House Intelligence Committee, said she and committee chairman Peter Hoekstra, a Republican of Michigan, sent a letter 14 days ago asking for it to be delivered. We believe that the CIA has been told not to distribute the report, she said, and we are very concerned. According to the intelligence official who spoke to me on condition of anonymity, release of the report, which represents an exhaustive 17-month investigation by an 11-member team within the agency, has been stalled. First, by acting CIA Director John McLaughlin, and now by Porter J. Michigas, the former Republican House member and chairman of the Intelligence Committee, who recently was appointed CIA chief by President Bush, Porter Michigas. The official stressed that the report was more blunt and more specific than the earlier bipartisan reports produced by the Bush-appointed 9/11 Commission in the Congress. What all the other reports on 9/11 did not do is point the finger at individuals and give the how and what of their responsibility. This report does that, says the intelligence official. The report found very senior-level officials responsible. By law, the only legitimate reason the CIA director has for holding back such a report is national security, yet neither Goss nor McLaughlin's invoke national upfront before they start the job. Call them today toll-free. Use them the first time. You'd never dream of calling anybody else again. Call them at 1-800-248-5071. That's 1-800-248-5071, or on the wicked web, it's dryconcepts.com.
You're listening to Neil Rogers, exclusively on 560 QAM.
Hovers over this performance by the Dolphins.
Have inept election officials left you confused? Here is your guide to understanding how to cast your vote in Palm Beach County, Florida. Follow along with me to see just how easy it can be. Let's get started, shall we? Joining me here in the booth is Mr. Mermelstein. Who are you voting for?
Al Lieberman.
Yeah, I see. Now, read the butterfly ballot, starting with Bush-Cheney in the left column, Buchanan, Chickel-Gruber, Mengele, Eichmann, and Goebbels in the right.
Where's Al Lieberman?
Over there.
This Goebbels guy.
Yes?
Is this the guy who makes my baby food?
No. Now simply punch a hole in the 1959 Univac key punch card.
Okay, where?
Over there. Here. Use this microscope.
Oh, there. Is that it?
No.
Okay, I'll punch again. Is this
No. That invalidates your vote.
All right, yeah, I'll punch again.
You do that again, I'll punch you.
One more for good measure.
Why, you... Doddering old Hebe. Remember, comrades, if you want to live in Florida, exercise your right to vote in accordance to the little brother.
It's 11:32, 28 till noon at 560. QM Mad Dog coming at 2. Let's take a look at the poll so far. Which of these groups bugs you the most? 316 votes. Born-again Christians, 120. Republicans, 42. That's moving up. That's zooming up the list. I hate everybody, 37. Cubans, 35. I like everybody, 14. Well, goody. African-Americans, 12. Haitians, 10. Rednecks, 9. French-Canadians, 9. Jews, 9. Muslims, 8. New Yorkers, 4. What if they're New Yorkers who also are Jews?
Oh, double whammy.
Catholics, 4. And Jamaicans, 3 out of 316 votes. A lot of people out there not to like. Well, just, you can pretend you like everybody, people are just people,
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the like?
Early voting problems reported in Boca again. This must be a mistake, isn't it? This just a joke?
I'm sure. Commie lies.
And I would think if we were getting zillions with this election going on, less than 2 weeks away now, we'd be getting zillions of calls from people who voted the last couple of days and have encountered either problems or no problems or whatever. There's all this stuff going on. Let's call in C-SPAN and have them cover the show, okay, so they can hear some of these neat calls.
Yeah, they put the camera on your picture I have on
like
the wall
this one. WQAM, hello.
Yes, sir. A while ago they played a song that was like a spoof of the Monster Mash.
Yeah.
I wanted to find out where you get it and who does it, what it's called.
Where you get it?
Yeah, isn't it something you can purchase somewhere?
No. But you can get it at Kathy Willett's house, okay, pal? Not you. Somebody about 40 years younger. See, now wouldn't C-SPAN have been they would have tickled their fancy to get that call, okay? That was exactly what South Florida is right about. That was perfect. That was one of our younger callers. WQAM, hello.
I think I voted for Nader, all right?
WQAM, hello.
Yeah.
Yes,
I voted in Palm Beach, okay?
Yes.
And, it's so easy. My dog can do it.
Yeah. Well, listen, then by all means, get him over there.
They sit in there.
Howard David's a bitch.
Tonight on CSI Fire Island, Agent Butts and Agent Cheeks work hard to solve their queerest case yet.
Agent Butts speaking.
Butts, Cheeks, get down here now.
I've got a stiff.
Oh, should I bring the wine?
Oh, would you just can it, girlfriend? I'm talking about a dead body.
Ew. Necro, no.
CSI, Fire Island. Harvey Fierstein and Richard Simmons star as TV's newest, not-so-ambiguously gay crime-solving duo.
Check out this, Butts. I've examined the physical evidence.
Let's get physical.
Hey, why don't you put a plug in it, Butts? Now, I've deduced that the assailant prefers entering through the back door.
Oh, great. That narrows down the list of suspects completely.
CSI, Fire Island, with special guest star Rupert Everett.
Be still my heart.
Love him.
Don't miss CSI, Fire Island, coming soon, but not too quickly, to CBS.
16 till noon at 560. I must be psychic, because I was just talking moments ago about Joyce and her plug. But nevertheless.
Oh.
5670560, pound 560 on the Verizon and Singular wireless lines. Martha Stewart's in a jam again. Imprisoned domestic diva Martha Stewart may be caught again in a jam, according to a report published today. The New York Post citing an unnamed inmate at the Alderson, West Virginia minimum security. See, the idea that she's in jail is so ridiculous, even though we can't stand that bitch. It's crazy. It's madness. How's Kenny Lay doing, Kenny boy?
Yeah.
Anyway, they report that the guru of good living, meaning Martha, not Kenny boy, spent some time last week picking crab apples from trees on the campgrounds and used them to cook up sweet jelly. The normal person would get punished for that, but the prison guards managed not to see her, the inmate was quoted as saying. The crabby inmate. The inmate went on to say that Stewart might not have known it was wrong, although other inmates have since advised her to refrain from stirring up any more treats. Oh, no! The Post cited a spokeswoman for the federal prison camp as saying that she was unaware of Stewart's exploits, adding that it is unlikely that a prisoner would get into serious trouble for such activity. It's a 105-acre compound with a lot of different trees, and crab apples are amongst them, said Dawn Zobel, spokeswoman for the prison camp. And if an inmate was seen picking them, we would have a discussion with him, an informal discussion. Well, I don't get it. What's wrong with picking apples?
Well, they were forbidden apples.
Better than picking cotton. October 8th, she began serving a 5-month sentence. She's been visited by her daughter, Alexis, and lawyers during the past few days. And who cares? Okay, get her out of there already. It's embarrassing. But just like, I gotta play that Monty Python, the Eric Idle thing.
Yes, you did.
She's an uppity rich bitch. Sinclair, speaking of the media, Sinclair says it will not air the Kerry film in its entirety. Boy, they are crumbling, man. It's such a beautiful thing to see. They're crumbling fast. Sinclair Broadcasting, under widening scrutiny over plans to air a documentary about Senator John Kerry's wartime activities about 30 years ago, said yesterday it would not show the program in its entirety. Contrary to numerous inaccurate political and press accounts, the Sinclair stations will not be airing the documentary Stolen Honor in its entirety, the Baltimore-based company said in a statement. That's what they're saying now to cover their ass. Sinclair said it would air a special news program on Friday called a POW story, Politics, Pressure in the Media, that would discuss the allegations surrounding Kerry's anti-Vietnam War activities. Sinclair continues to feel heat from Wall Street as the company's shares fell another 23 cents to close at $6.26 in yesterday's trading. The stock is down more than 12% since October 11th, the first day of trading after the LA Times reported on the airing of the documentary. Lehman Brothers cut its 12-month price target from $9 to $9 from $10, as analyst William Myers noted in a report that airing the documentary has no upside and only multidimensional downside for the company, for example, by alienating advertisers and regulators. But that's not Sinclair's only business problem, nor its only experience with controversy. Sinclair's financial woes were highlighted Monday in J.P. Morgan's decision to initiate coverage with an underweight rating that indicates it's expected to underperform in its peer group. In a conversation with management, we detected substantial frustration with the company's stock price, said analyst Barton Crockett, kin to Davy. Sinclair's stock is down 56.7% year-to-date, compared with the S&P's 500 rise of 0.2% for the year. He adds that Sinclair may consider trying to go private, but we would be hindered by its debt. Oh, I love it. Hubman and Dreard, as they say. Don't forget to join George, Miguel, and Boca Brian today, 5 to 7 for a happy hour at the Treasure Island. Just off the Palmetto, just north of the 122nd Street exit. Stop by to win some really crappy low-budget prizes. And be sure and check out this week's feature, Stephanie Evans. Isn't she the one that pops bowling balls out of her...
Yeah, as a matter of fact.
Watermelons out of her... That's Stephanie Evans with George and Miguel and Boca Brian at Treasure Island tonight.
She nailed Boca Brian last week.
She did Boca Brian. His head popped right out of her... 567-0560, pound 560 on the Verizon and Singular wireless lines. WQAM, hello.
Hey, how's it going, Neil?
How you doing?
All right, man. I got 2 wishes for today. Well, one for November 2nd and one for tonight. I just wish they beat up on that Empire in New York State, New York Yankees. And November 2nd, you know what's up. Go Bush.
Yeah, both equally outstanding. WQAM, hello. QAM. Ooh.
Is that Euro ring?
Hello. Yeah, that sounds like that Euro ring. Maybe the Pope is on the other line. Hey, Pops. Not there. That did sound like that.
Pink Floyd.
Frontal. WQAM, hello.
Hey, I got one for your poll.
What do you mean you got one for our poll? Our poll
Dumb
is,
people.
Who?
Dumb people. Retards.
Yeah, I like that.
We already put Republicans on there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, retards is good. And we don't want to pick on the president, though. Okay, that's good. You want to put that on there or not?
No.
Okay. You had it on there. You had dumb people on your poll.
I did?
I think.
I don't think so.
Well, put it on there anyway, dumb people. Give these people a choice, baby. Give them what they want. See, that's the one thing you haven't learned yet. You're getting better every show, but one thing you haven't learned, give them what they want. If they want crap, give them crap. Give them tons of it. It's cheap.
That.
It's cheap. Give them tons of these phone calls, baby. That's what they want. They don't want anything like might stimulate their brain.
Oh, my God, he's reading those stories. It's disgusting. We want to hear more about boobies, baby. Boobies, boobies, boobies. That's what we want.
Let me tell you again, the ones who talk about that crap the most, they are the ones who get it the least. And the ones who pretend like the born-again Christians who are leading a runaway with our poll, they're the ones who are doing everybody. Because born-again Christian is code for closet pervert. I mean, some of us perverts were out of the closet, at least. That's okay. Right. But closet pervert, a.k.a. hypocrite. 413 votes. Which of these groups bugs you the most? Born-again Christians, hands down your pants, baby. 154. 37% of all of you say born-again Christians. Screw them. Republicans, 59. I hate everybody, 44. Cubans, 44. You still can't let go of that Cuban thing, man. I like everybody, 16. Haitians, 15, but they sure have clean lawns. African Americans, 15. Oh, wait a minute. That just moved up there into a tie with Haitians. Maybe we ought to have ID cards for the dark folks. Muslims, 14. Rednecks, 13. French Canadians, 12. Jews, 11. New Yorkers, 10. I would assume that most of the New Yorkers in South Florida, not all, but, well, then we got a lot of Guidos, too, huh?
Yeah.
A lot of Jew Yorkers.
That's
Jamaicans, 5. Catholics, 4. And dumb people just went on there. Very good work, Josh. 423 vote on our astute poll. I got an article here that the Kerry people aren't going to be too happy with me about, but haven't I said that it's a pretty poor selection?
Yes.
Doug Thompson writes The Rant in the Capitol Hill Blue, which is an outstanding website that George doesn't like at all. But he writes, ain't much of a choice, and I hate to echo, I mean, naturally I already voted for Kerry and would vote 100 times if I had the chance and hope like hell he's going to win. By the way, the latest Florida state-by-state poll, I should point out, I forgot to mention this, it shows 47% for Bush, 46% for Kerry, and 1 or 2 for Nader. Mm-hmm. But how do you like that? It's now within 1%. A couple of days ago, Bush had a 4-point lead. You know, these are the daily, every couple of days they do these tracking polls state by state in the battleground states. And also Iowa, the latest one shows Kerry 47, Bush 47, and Nader with 4, which is very disturbing. You see, you people are going to vote for Nader. All you're going to do, every vote for Nader is a vote for Bush. Make no, at least in the battleground states. And didn't Nader already didn't he already say to the people who wanted to vote for him in the close states, in the battleground states, they should vote for Kerry? Didn't he already say that?
Yeah, sure, let's say he said that.
No, he did say that.
Okay.
It was months ago, but he said it. Anyway. Ain't much of a choice, writes Doug Thompson, and the great Capitol Hill Blue, which George hates that web. I have no idea why. Well, no, that's because they're nonpartisan. They rip both parties, and they tell it like it is.
I don't know why you say that. I've never said anything of the sort.
Just for the hell of it.
Okay.
If George W. Bush had not turned the citizens of this country into an angry mob filled with hate and distrust, this election wouldn't even be close. God knows John Kerry's not the answer to this nation's woes. His legislative record, if one can call it that, would in the best of times rate nothing more than an asterisk in the history of the U.S. Senate. But this is hardly the best of times, and Kerry, through no accomplishment of his own, finds himself locked in a dead-heat battle for the presidency because many Americans hate Bush so much they're willing to risk the future of the nation on a lackluster liberal who never saw a political position he couldn't change. This is the dilemma we face in 2 weeks, a choice between a reckless zealot who's led this country into a war it can't win and a wishy-washy opportunist who couldn't lead a pack of Cub Scouts on an overnight camping trip. If you think this ain't much of a choice, you're right. As campaign 2004 winds down, Americans face a future that's cursed with 4 years of more of the same or more of the unknown. Bush is the great divider, a madman whose policies and actions have ripped this country apart, the architect of the most divisive war since Vietnam, the highest deficits in history, and an administration whose lies dwarf even those of our last great prevaricator, William Jefferson Clinton. Kerry, unfortunately, isn't the man on a white horse riding in to save the day. Given Bush's record, a chimpanzee with an IQ of a 2-minute egg could be leading the polls by 20 points. I got to read that again. I love that.
Great line.
Given Bush's record, a chimpanzee with an IQ of a 2-minute egg could be leading the polls by 20 points, but Kerry's many missteps and vacillating positions on issues leaves one wondering how he even got into Yale, much less graduated. This is a race between dumb and dumber, numbnuts and dimwit, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. The only difference between Kerry's campaign and a Cub Scout pack is that Cub Scouts at least have adult leadership, and the only difference between the Bush administration and the same pack is that Cub Scouts don't have heavy artillery. So what's a voter to do come November 2nd when each of us must walk into the voting booth and make a decision? Damn good question. With 2 weeks to go, I still don't know who I'm going to vote for, or even if I'm going to vote. The future of this nation could well depend on the decision all of us makes on that day, yet I can't help feeling any decision is fruitless because the mess of this country faces is beyond repair, at least by anybody on the current presidential ballot. Either way, we're screwed, says Doug Thompson. How do you like that? It's a little bit too honest for most folks, but that's the problem with the two-party system. It blows. It sucks.
So why don't you support Nader?
Oh,
you
man.
Democrats afraid of democracy?
Yeah. Talk about it. I think that was Nader on the phone before asking about that bit. They called back the second time. I was cut off before.
I can't.
I think somebody ought to slit the fan belt in the 65 Corvair. That'll teach him. Old coot. 4 minutes till noon at 560 WQM. Hey, all you horse racing fans and poker players, Pompano Park Racing and poker is just the gambling action you're looking for. Plunge your guts out. They're located a half a mile from both I-95 and the Florida Turnpike. Pompano Park is easy to get to, and best of all, Pompano Park features free admission and free general parking every day. Live harness racing in the poker room open every Friday and Saturday. Poker starts at noon, goes on till midnight, and live racing gets underway nightly at 7:25 p.m. Friday and Saturday. Every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, the poker room features tournament action with special Texas Hold'em and 7-card stud tournaments starting at noon. And then it goes on about this Saturday, October 9th. See, I don't have any new copy here. Troy, you idiot. This Saturday, October 9th, yada, yada, well, they don't have that no more. Isn't that pathetic? Pompano Park is also open for simulcasting every day, 7 days and nights a week, with the best in harness racing, thoroughbred highlight action from all across North America for you to watch and plunge on. Pompano Park, located a block south of Atlantic Boulevard on Powerline Road. For the current racing schedule, please go online at pompanopark.com or call 954-972-2000 because Troy is busy being a celebrity now. Pompano Park horsepower you can plunge your guts on.
You're listening to Neil Rogers exclusively on 560 QAM.
This is Mark Morgan. It's the 12 to 1 hour on QAM.
Like William Holden said to Diana, let's just say F you too, honey. And that's for Troy Stratford without the honey part.
Yeah, F you twice.
He just handed you this a new copy from Pompano
I
Park?
found it in the floor in there. I remembered seeing something like that on the floor this morning, and I thought...
You found it on the floor?
That's where I found it.
Well, that's a good place for it.
The fact that there were people in here last night, you know, it could have been moved around.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There were people in there just absolutely debasing our studio down there. That's really sad. Anyway, this Friday and Saturday night at Pompano Park, the $100,000 finals of the Florida Sunshine Stakes for 2 and 3 years old. What did I just say? 2 and 3 year olds. And this Saturday, there's a free concert at Pompano Park starting at 7 o'clock featuring the best Rolling Stones tribute band in the country, Satisfaction, plus the warm-up band is Storm Riders doing their tribute to the Doors. And, if that isn't good enough, don't forget to mark your calendars now because before you know it, the first free spaghetti dinner night of the season takes place at Pompano Park on Monday, December 6th. So write it on your sleeve, on your wrist, on your tombstone, Monday, December 6th, okay? Sorry about that, Dick, but we got it all in there. Want to get Dick Feinberg all bent out of shape. Okay, we got to hang on to everybody we got, you know what I mean?
All right.
Hanging on by our thumbs. And as far as Dick Feinberg's concerned, he also urges a yes vote, please, on Amendment 4. And just like the spot we just had, this time there's none of this crap about, well, it's going to replace some of the other funding. This is on top of whatever funding we already are spending on education. That's guaranteed. It's written right into the amendment, and there's no way to circumvent it, like with the phony baloney lottery. Lottery's really a good bet, you know? Anyway, here's a fax from Jason who says, I voted yesterday. No problems. Pine Island and Broward Boulevard. Let me say it again. Go to neilrogers.com. Eric's done a fabulous job if you want to know where to vote. And click on the thing there. He's got the map and all of the sites, the locations. It's an excellent job, Eric. It's about time. Anyway, Pine Island and Broward, he voted. 40 minutes total. Even some of the poll workers knew what was going on, which is a shock. Some of the ones under 100. It said votes are stored, locked up, and under video until November 1st. No pre-counting. 2, I'm still going to wait on Election Day at my polling place to make sure my name is off the registration having voted early. I think it's a good way to double-check that your vote was counted. And 3, went to the Kerry rally at C.B. Smith Park. 15,000 people there. Kerry was great, and Bobby Graham was great. And that's great, Jason. Thanks for the good news. See, there is some good news every now and then, as opposed to some of the negatory turds that we got there in South Florida. Turds.
You turd.
That's the word. 567-0560. See, you're right. I got a huge pile, you know?
Yeah.
In fact, it could have been on Howard's contest a couple weeks ago. Remember he had that hemorrhoid contest?
Oh,
were you I've got to get a lot of these important calls in, man. That's the meat and potatoes, the bread and butter, the peanut butter and jelly. Pound 560 on the Verizon and Singular Wireless lines. WQAM, hello?
Neil, God.
Yes, sir, speaking.
Hey, I just want to report that I voted this morning at
Great.
Tamarack Library at Commercial in Pine Island. And there was about a 15-minute wait, but the line moved very quickly, and the poll workers were competent. They were the guy who was actually, once you presented your credentials, the guy who was actually putting people up to the machines was very, very good. He was excellent as a worker. And I want you to know that I voted yes on Amendment 4.
Good.
And, of course, voted for the person who's going to be the next president of the United States, John Kerry. And I urge everybody else to consider voting early. It really does, remove the possibility of having crowded and huge lines, on the actual election
Yeah,
day.
I think it's a great idea. Plus, I think it creates a lot of advanced excitement. When you have 2 solid weeks, and then a lot of people, when there's only one day to vote, they find excuses. They can't get out of work, or there's too much traffic. Or they've got a million excuses. Now I think you're going to get a big turnout.
Now you've got 2 weeks, exactly. Thanks, Neil.
Thank you. Good job. There you go. There's a good job. He done it all the way around. He voted yes on Prop 4. He voted for Kerry. And in spite of the article I read by Doug Thompson, and I agree with most of what he put in there, but the fact of the matter is you got a choice. I mean, one of these people is going to be the president the next 4 years, and Kerry's got to be light years ahead. I mean, is there any contest? Is it even close?
No.
A man with an intellect, a man who, had some balls, a man who went and served for his country while the other one was draft dodging along with his heartless vice president, who's busy, they picking on Mary. Mary's a dyke, and they're picking on Mary. Yeah. They keep showing a clip, by the way, the interview with him and his wife when he was the one that brought it up in the first place months ago, back in April, about how his daughter is a lesbian, and it's well known that she's a gay leadership, and that's why he disagrees with Bush on the anti-gay marriage amendment, and people ought to be able to do whatever the hell they want. And that's okay for him to say it. It was okay for John Edwards to say it, but now because they have nothing else, that's what they're reduced to in these last 2 weeks, is here's this guy who's so liberal.
Misjudgments by stubbornness.
And on the one hand, and then on the other hand, we got they called my daughter a dyke. And that's it. That's a hell of a... After 4 years in office, those are 2 fantastic things to really be running on. He's a bad man. He's too freaking liberal. Oh, there's Bubba. Bubba's going to campaign with Kerry in Philadelphia next week. Did you see that?
I did, and it's good.
He's coming from Chappaqua. He's going to crank up his heart. He's going to steal Cheney's pacemaker just in case. WQAM, hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Oh, man, I can't believe I got you. Okay, I got 4 things. First of all, real
You got
quick.
4 things, huh?
All right, 4 things. Number 1, tell George or you yourself to see the movie Saved. It's going to take him back to his youth.
I heard nothing but good things about it.
Yeah,
what movie
it's
is
such
it?
an awesome...
Saved. It's supposed to be very
Saved.
good. Yes.
With Mandy Moore. She's awesome in it. Number 2, you got to talk about Amendment 3 because I'm studying to be a nurse, and you have to talk about it because it's very important for the healthcare. Very important. Number 3, I saw...
Well, what do you mean it's very important for healthcare? What does that mean?
Well, if they keep suing for a lot of money, then a lot of nurses aren't going to be around, and doctors are going to be, about the Amendment 3 about the
Yeah, I know which one it is.
The independent
The one that's proposed by the Florida Medical Association, right?
Right. Okay, number 3, I saw Fahrenheit 9/11. It's all about the bull Schmidt.
Yeah.
And number 4. Keep going with it, brother. Keep going. And by the way, my brother Julio, you're gay.
He ain't the only one.
Oh, Julio, by the way.
Blaming.
Yeah, I know her. I know that one. 567-0560, pound 560 on the Verizon and Singular Wireless lines. I'm telling you, this early voting thing, Florida, we're going to have 50 million people vote. Of course, we don't have nearly that many living in the state, but that's okay.
So anyway.
Yes?
I digested the amendments, and here it is. You want it?
What do you mean you digested it?
I read the whole thing, what it's about.
Which one?
All of them.
You already faxed me that.
No, but I went through and here's the rundown if you want to be real quick about it.
Okay, go ahead.
No on 1, no on 2, no on 3, yes on 4.
You're going to get our Julio friend there upset. We said no on 3.
Right, no on 3.
Right.
Yes on 4.
Now, wait a minute. What's 4? Yes, 4 is the money for education, the slots.
Yes on 5, which is the guaranteed minimum wage amendment, which only brings all that does is bring Florida up to standards with federal law.
Right.
So that people can get minimum wage in Florida who don't normally. Yes on 6, which is repeal that really silly bullet train.
High-speed rail.
Yeah,
the bullet train. Oh, but we love the bullet. What's the bit we got on that? What is that called?
Oh, I don't know. It's a Boca Brian bit.
I know. What is it called? I love that.
He'll tell me in a second after the 7-second delay. Yes on 6, we already did that. Yes on 7, and yes on 8.
7 is the patient's right to know about adverse medical incidents.
That's correct. They do have the right to know.
Yes, they do. And so yes on 7. And 8, the public protection from repeated medical malpractice. So obviously the answer on that is yes.
Yes.
Okay. It says current law allows medical doctors who have committed repeated malpractice to be licensed to practice medicine in Florida. Guess what? I don't think so. So they want to change that, which just makes a little bit of sense to me. This amendment prohibits medical doctors who have been found to have committed 3 or more incidents of medical malpractice from being licensed to practice medicine in Florida unless they came from Cuba with phony ID. Is there a week that goes by that we don't find that there's somebody who's either practicing dentistry, cosmetic surgery, or open heart surgery, who's not a real doctor?
Surgery.
Right, not a real doctor.
I que pena.
I'll be damned. I wonder if they're doing lobotomies. We could sure use some help at QAM. WQAM, hello. Maybe we get a group rate. QAM, hello. Not there. WQAM, hola.
Hi, Neil. We got
yes, sir.
Reverend Jones.
Well, he gets on shorter and shorter every time, you know what? Just amazing. WQAM, hello.
WQAM, hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Good. I just want to give you a great comment on that article you just read by who, Mr. Thompson, was it?
Doug Thompson.
Can you put that on your website? And if not, where do I find it?
It's on there.
Oh, it's on there now?
Yep.
Perfect, man. Good job. Thank you.
You got it. It's on there, and so it goes to show you, even though it rips Kerry and Bush equally in ass, we just don't put articles on there. Now, naturally, most of the articles that we put on there are pro-Kerry and ripping Bush in ass, well-deserved. But I read that thing, and I thought, well, I certainly agree with most of what he's saying there. It's a pretty P-poor choice. We can't even say the first part of the P word there because Joyce will get all bent out of shape, and we don't want to give Joyce a choice. But it's the best we got. I still say, I don't care what anybody says, forget about the, whatever the hell he said with the IQ of a thimble, but I still say, there was the man right there, and they made damn sure that he didn't have a Chinaman's chance in hell.
Bullet train.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I love that bit. How long is it? Is it long? Or is it it's about a minute.
Will you be in Orlando?
Oh, about 10 minutes.
Whoa! From Miami?
Sure. I'll just take the bullet train. Now you can travel from Key West to Jacksonville in less than 15 minutes on the Florida Bullet Train, thanks to your well-researched landslide vote.
Now boarding the bullet train for Yahoo Junction, Apopka, and Cucamonga.
Why just take the monorail for some barbecue when the bullet train can take you all the way from Tampa right into Biscayne Bay, where you can explore the tropical barrier reefs made entirely of Cuban Buick. Your vote of confidence in the credibility of elected officials has finally paid off. Take the Florida Bullet Train. For travel information on the Florida Bullet Train, call... Wait a minute.
Where's that article? I don't want to tell them it's on there and then find out we didn't put it on there. Did we put it on there, Josh?
Yeah, it's on there.
Ain't Much of a Choice by Doug Thompson. It's right on there. It's down way down. We got a whole bunch of articles on there today, and much to Josh's dismay. But nevertheless, it is on there, down the list. 12:13 at 560 WQM. Right now, I'd like to tell you about our good friends over at Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers in Deerfield Beach. With over 275 different mortgage programs available to them, they will find a mortgage for you no matter what your situation is. Recently, they helped out a listener of ours who never thought he'd be able to qualify to buy his own home. Not only were they able to qualify him, they were able to present him 3 options as to the type of mortgages he could get, and they worked closely with him to determine which one was best, and then they made it happen. That's Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers in Deerfield Beach. You can call them toll-free, 1-800-734-6616. Whether you're looking for an interest-only loan, a 30-year fixed rate, or one of many low-rate adjustable mortgages, Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers in Deerfield Beach has exactly what you'll be needing. They offer payments as low as $332 for every $100,000 you borrow, folks. Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers in Deerfield Beach can make it happen for you, too, and not only will they do that, but they'll even send you on a cruise, too. That's correct. After closing your loan with Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers in Deerfield Beach, you'll be able to choose one of 6 different 7-night cruises compliments of Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers. So call them right now, toll-free, 1-800-734-6616. Whether you want to buy a new home, an investment property, or just refinance your current mortgage, these are the folks you want to be doing business with. Call 1-800-734-6616 or on the Wicked Web. You'll find them at GuaranteedMortgageBankers.com. That's Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers in Deerfield Beach, where they'll treat you just like family. Call them at 1-800-734-6616.
You're listening to Neil Rogers exclusively on 560 QAM.
It's Steve! Oh! In Miami town.
Oh!
At 560 WQAM.
This is Al. Franken. Now, on this segment of the Al Franken Show, for the benefit of my audience, that means all of you out there, I will attempt to fold balloons into the shape of animals. Now, can we have the atmosphere music? Now, you'll be amazed at how realistic these balloon animals can be. There. Now, does that resemble a poodle or a dachshund? I'll let the audience decide. Give me a call to share your thoughts on this and engage in open conversation. And now, what do they call this thing again? A log. Okay. We have a hard break, or is this a soft break? Here, look. A soft break. Oh, now we'll never know.
Oh. Wow. 20 past noon at 560 WQAM. How can we compete with that, you know?
Oh, there's no hope.
I know. Wait till you hear this story. This one is going to set you topsy-turvy, baby. You're going to love this. You're going to go crazy.
Well, let me put my pants back on.
Bush relatives use website to show support for Kerry.
Okay.
Six blood relatives of President Bush who support John Kerry's bid for the presidency have launched a website to publicize their sharp disagreements with Bush's policies. The site, and we can put a link on our website to it, okay? In fact, I would strongly recommend that.
Okay.
BushRelativesForKerry.com. Pretty easy, right?
Okay.
www.BushRelativesForKerry.com consists of personal statements from a group of decidedly liberal second cousins of the president, none of whom knows him personally. All are grandchildren of Mary Bush House, the sister of Prescott Bush, that Nazi, the former U.S. senior senator from Connecticut, and the father and grandfather of the 2 Bush presidents. The introduction of the site opens with a slogan, "Because blood is thicker than oil," and states, "As the election approaches, we feel it's our responsibility to speak out about why we're voting for John Kerry and to do our small part to help America heal from the sickness it suffered since George Bush was appointed president in 2000. We invite you to read our stories, and please don't vote for our cousin." Hillary House, no relation to former Tiger catcher Frank House. Hillary House, 39, a third-year law student at the University of Washington, put together the site with the participation of 3 of her 6 siblings, Sheila House, Tracy Cannon, and Chris House. Oh, let's take it to the house. The 4 are children of Mary Bush's son, Francis House III, now deceased, who taught English at a prep school in Connecticut, and was the first cousin of former President George Herbert Walker Bush. Jeannie House and Henry Kimsey House, 2 children of another of Mary's sons, James House, also provided pro-Kerry testimonials. The website was put up independent of the Kerry campaign, Hillary House said, adding that an email she sent to the campaign about a month ago hadn't been answered. Kerry campaign officials in Washington State and Washington, D.C. said they were unaware of the site. Leah Yoon, spokeswoman for the Bush-Cheney campaign in Washington State, declined to comment about the site. They're entitled to their opinions as American citizens, she said, yada yada, spokesman for the Republican National Committee. Hillary House said she got the idea for the site when she heard that Jeannie House, a pastor in Wisconsin, had briefly spoken to the Massachusetts senator at a Kerry event after he noticed her waving a Bush relative for Kerry sign. According to Hillary and her sister Sheila, 49, a mental health counselor in Harwich, Mass., when Jeannie explained the House family connection to the Bushes and said they were nonetheless enthusiastic about voting for Kerry, the Democratic nominee jokingly suggested they start a website. Jeannie House declined to comment. In her statement on the site, she denounces what she describes as Bush's imperialist cabal and stated that her understanding of Christianity, based on a concern for peace and social justice, was not compatible with the more conservative brand of Christianity embraced by the right-wing lunatic president. All the House family members writing on the site are sharply critical of the president. Hillary House said she didn't feel comfortable telling friends and acquaintances of her family connection to the president, given his conservative views, until putting up the website, which was completed about a week ago. I was very quiet about my family relationship. She said I was really, really embarrassed to be related to the president. How do you like that? And who the hell can blame her? That poor nice lady. I was going to say bitch. So there you go. That's excellent. We got that on there yet?
Within minutes.
Relatives for Kerry, whatever the hell it was, .com. Smirking, chimpy, whatever. Now, Pat Robertson was on with Paul Azan last night, and I was unfortunate enough to see that for about 3 minutes in between innings of the baseball game. And I saw that grinning goonball on there, and I thought to myself, what the hell have they dragged his ass out there for again? But it turns out that it was a good thing they dragged his ass out. You want to know why?
Why?
Pat Robertson says, Bush told me there would be no casualties in Iraq. Yeah. He warned Bush of the toll in Iraq, and the president's response, we're not going to have any. A war where nobody's going to die. How do you like that? Not that this president don't know nothing about, not that he's a chicken hawk.
Right.
The founder of the U.S. Christian Coalition said yesterday he told President Bush before the invasion of Iraq that he should prepare Americans for the likelihood of casualties, but the president told him, we're not going to have any casualties. Not even at Abu Ghraib. Not even there. Pat Robertson, an ardent Bush supporter, said he had that conversation with the president in Nashville, Tennessee, before the March 2003 invasion. He described Bush in the meeting as the most self-assured man I've ever met in my life. You remember Mark Twain said he looked like a contented Christian with 4 aces? I mean, he was just sitting there like I'm on top of the world, Robertson said on the Paul Azan Now show. And I warned him about this war. I had deep misgivings about this war, deep misgivings, and I was trying to say, Mr. President, you better prepare the American people for casualties. Robertson said the president then told him, oh no, we're not going to have any casualties. The number, by the way, last time I checked was 1,103.
Well, God told him there wouldn't be any.
Right. Well, God lies, because God also, if you remember, months ago told Pat that the election was going to be a blowout. He mentioned this last night. Now he says it's going to be nip and tuck, tight. Tight as a witch's ass. That's what he said. Robertson, the televangelist who sought the Republican presidential nomination in 1988, said he wishes Bush would admit the mistakes made. I mean, the Lord told me it was going to be A, a disaster, and B, messy, Robertson said, meaning the war. I warned him about casualties. How do you like that? I'm going to read those 2 sentences again. 100 U.S. troops have died. Another 8,000 have been wounded in the ongoing campaign, with the casualty toll significantly increasing the last 6 months as the insurgency there has deepened. Asked why Bush has refused to admit mistakes in Iraq, Robertson said, I don't know this politics game. You know, you can never say you were wrong because the opposition grabs onto it. See, he admitted he screwed up. You just can't do that. Even Pat Robertson says we're dealing with a Dumbo. Although, of course, he supports him enthusiastically. Right. Because, God forbid, he should support a liberal senator from Massachusetts. Right?
Right.
26 past noon at 560 WQM. It's a good thing we had that extra 15 or 20 minutes today, because I got a lot of crap here, man. Got crap up to my earlobes, including the one from Rolling Stone that I like the best. Help, I'm stoned. Who should I vote for? I should move that up on the pile. You know what?
Yeah, you should.
I should. I'll move that up.
During the lunch hour, it'd be perfect.
Wait, did we get that on there, by the way?
Josh?
Yeah, it's going on right now.
It's going on right now? Help, I'm stoned. Who should I vote for?
He didn't say what was going on.
Huh?
What? What's going on right now?
Josh is going on right now.
Going up.
Well, see, the problem with it is it's 45 pages long, and I didn't obviously print out only the first part that I wanted on there, the first 2 pages. So that might have thrown you a little bit off. But nevertheless, he'll check it out, and he will get that on there, trust me. 27 past noon at 560 WQM. With all the hurricane mess we had in September, Armstrong Ford Homestead must clear out all remaining 04s to make room for the 2005s. You'll save Laura's Expeditions, Crown Vics, Tauruses, Focuses, Mustangs, too. Every 04 on the lot, every single one at Armstrong Ford Homestead has been drastically reduced, and you will literally save thousands. Plus, Armstrong Ford offers lots more to its loyal customers. When you buy a Ford from Armstrong Ford, you'll get their exclusive Tires and Batteries for Life program. That is correct, Tires and Batteries for Life. The value you get at Armstrong Ford doesn't even stop there, because right now they're giving you a free Florida Sun Pass with any vehicle you be buying. If you've been wanting a new car but been putting it off, wait no longer, because David Rich and the staff at Armstrong Ford will guarantee you the best price. And don't forget, they're locally owned and operated. They'll treat you just like family. No bait and switch, no BS, no hiding your keys, credit cards, all of that stuff. No phony deals, just the best prices in town. Armstrong Ford of Homestead, 30725 South Dixie Highway, just 20 minutes south of the 836. Check them on that wicked web at ArmstrongCars.com and then drive a little and save a ton, thousands on that new Ford only from Armstrong Ford of Homestead.
You're listening to Neil Rogers on 560 QAM.
Oh, God.
Way down in Jamaica in the Caribbean, they got the best herb that you ever seen. Ask anybody in that neighborhood, they tell you this the country where the ganja be good. Rastaman has some he want to sell, and from a mile away you can detect the smell of smoke. Smoke, ganja smoke, Jamaica doesn't need any foreign aid. American tourists come here and say, got nothing like this in the USA. They smoke, smoke, ganja smoke, smoke. They light up the spliff and toke. They begin to cough and choke. Smoke, ganja smoke, smoke. All right. The ganja be good. Mama tell her son you are a Rasta man. You like to smoke the giant spliff whenever you can.
Are you sure?
Many people coming here from miles around to buy the herb from you by the ounce and the pound.
Yes.
Rasta man say to her, Mama, you're right. The ganja be good tonight. And then they smoke. Smoke, ganja smoke, smoke. They light up the spliff and choke. Smoke, ganja smoke, smoke. Smoke, ganja smoke, smoke. The ganja be good.
619 votes on the poll.
Yeah, man.
Which of these groups bugs you the most? Of course, we deal with people as individuals, don't we?
No. That's right.
Born-again Christians, 212, winning hands down. I mean, there's nothing even close to them. They're obnoxious and disgusting and try to always push it off on you and stick it and et cetera. Just take it and take it back home and leave us alone, okay? Just take over like North Dakota or somewhere and get out of our face. Go where you belong. Republicans, 96. I hate everybody, 61. Cubans, 60. Dumb people, 31. Haitians, 24. I like everybody, 21. So you see that? About a third of the African Americans 20, New Yorkers 19, Jews 19, French Canadians 17. They are, oh man, are they disgusting. You think the French Canadians that, well, I guess they come from Quebec.
Right.
Oh, brother. I told you a couple of weekends ago I went to Montreal to the casino. Great casino, beautiful place. And it reminded me of South Florida. Beautiful place, but just the wrong people there. Great place, horrible people. Anyway, French Canadians 17, Rednecks 15, Muslims 14, Catholics 5, and Jamaicans only 5, man. Well, that's because they don't want to piss off their drug dealers. Speaking of that, well, this is a great fax from Andy, which I'll get to eventually in a couple of minutes. Did you read it?
Yes, I did.
Pretty good stuff. And how come it is that, you remember before the war, they were saying, oh, well, we got to be very careful because Saddam is going to attack our troops. He's going to use those, as they get closer to Baghdad, they're going to get attacked with those chemical and biological weapons. Remember that?
Right.
And then there was this great shock about, oh, gee, that didn't happen. Why? Because he didn't have any. Oh.
Connie lies.
Oh. See, nobody's bringing that up again.
They already found
They got everybody whipped up into a frenzy. Oh, Saddam's going to gas our troops and he's going to use those chemical and biological weapons as he gets desperate and cornered. Well, guess what? He didn't have
Field
any.
commanders were authorized.
Oh. Anyway, this is from a Rolling Stone, and the reason I guess we didn't get it, see, Josh is referring to the other story I just read about the Bush relatives getting on there. Good job. But I was talking about the help I'm stoned, who should I vote for? From High Times.
Oh, no, that didn't go on there. That was, the link you sent to me was weird.
Yeah, well, the problem is it's 45 pages, and I guess you have no way of extracting like the first 2 pages out of that and cutting it off at that?
Yeah, good call.
So I'll just read the first 2 pages. How's that?
Fair enough.
Or I'll just read all 45. I just printed out the first 2. It's the important part. It says, Help, I'm stoned. Who should I vote for? Short answer, John Kerry. Long answer, if you like the job George W. Bush is doing as president, you should go ahead and vote for him. But if you ask High Times, that's a bad idea. We think he lied about Iraq being a war of last resort, and that's too big a lie to let pass. Now, maybe you have faith in the president and don't think he would lie about a war. Fair enough. But first stop and think about America's other war, the one we're fighting and losing in Colombia, the one that targets and arrests cancer patients at gunpoint, the one that's filling our for-profit prisons, the one that's denying first-offense nonviolent pot smokers college loans, the one we know to be nothing but a big lie, a lie that's grown bigger and bigger since Nixon first took it as part of his election campaign in '68, the war on drugs. Let's say it plain, the war on drugs is bullshit. And to borrow a cliche, now more than ever, the war on drugs is bullshit. Every dollar the Bush administration has spent on television ads blaming pot smokers for 9/11 or paying Tommy Chong's rent is $1 less spent to secure a port, put body armor on a soldier, or hunt down Osama bin Laden. This seems obvious until you remember that the drug war is not about reality and it's not about winning. Everyone knows it can't be won, but it can continually sustain the drug warriors, people like Bush's drug czar John Walters, who consistently claims that marijuana is more dangerous than heroin. In the 1980s, John Kerry exposed the hypocrisy of these drug warriors. While serving on the Senate Foreign Relations Commission, he headed an investigation that turned up extensive evidence of drug deals involving the CIA and the Contra rebels in Nicaragua, evidence that pointed directly to the drug for arms hostages scheme at the heart of the Iran-Contra scandal. Kerry wasn't afraid to take on the dirty dealers who run our nation's corrupt drug war, just as he took on the corrupt masters of war in the Pentagon after returning from duty in Vietnam. And in the other corner, wearing red trunks, we have George W. Bush, who took the easy way out of Nam, supporting the war he would let someone else fight with little help from Daddy's friends. After securing W a spot in the Champagne unit of the Texas National Guard, Bush's father would go on to head the CIA during its freewheeling 70s days of military coups and international narcotics dealing, and was promoted to vice president by the time the agency's Contra connection was exposed by John Kerry. Meanwhile, Bush Jr. spent the first half of the 80s getting wasted, perhaps on some of his father's Contra coke, and the second half letting Daddy's rich friends bail him out of failed businesses and making him managing general partner of the Texas Rangers. Now he's our president. Last year, 700,000 people were arrested for pot in the U.S., and Bush's Justice Department continued to raid state-sanctioned medical marijuana gardens at gunpoint. John Kerry has promised to end the raids on medical marijuana gardens immediately and will have a policy toward marijuana and other drugs that makes sense. The alternative, 4 more years of Bush, is continuing disaster for the rights of pot smokers and many other Americans, but don't take our word for it. And then it's got a link to other articles. For example, Kerry's marijuana experiment. The Democratic presidential nominee speaks out in support of a groundbreaking proposal from the University of Massachusetts at Amherst to grow marijuana for FDA-approved medical marijuana research. John Kerry to Rolling Stone, September 2003, said, I've met plenty of people in my lifetime who've used marijuana, about the same amount as some people drink beer or wine or have a cocktail. I don't get too excited by any of that. Kenneth Straub, former director of NORML, says there is no question that marijuana reform policies would be better served with someone else in office other than George Bush. Ethan Nadelman, executive director of the Drug Policy Alliance, says when it comes to the drug war, the Bush administration is a disaster. The Marijuana Policy Project, who graded Kerry A- on marijuana policy, said Kerry would stop the DEA raids on seriously ill medical marijuana patients as president. Kerry has previously said he favors federal legislation to allow people with cancer, AIDS, and other serious illnesses to have medical marijuana with their doctor's approval. Normal.org says, as a senator, Kerry has been supportive of statewide medical marijuana reform efforts in his home state of Massachusetts. He praised legislation approved by the Massachusetts legislature in '96 that sought to establish a medicinal marijuana therapeutic research program, and most recently wrote a letter to the DEA in support of a University of Massachusetts Amherst proposal to manufacture marijuana for FDA-approved medical marijuana research. And it goes on and on hightimes.com. If you want to look up the whole article, it's 45 pages long. hightimes.com. Got it?
I got it.
I'm sure you do.
You're listening to Neil Rogers exclusively on 560 QAM.
Bush, tomorrow!
I guess not.
I supported Bush after that tragic day, and to my surprise, disgust and shame, he let the sorties in Bin Laden get away, and shifted the blame to Saddam Hussein.
We got Iraq.
We're occupying Iraq.
Hey, how about that?
They're not the ones who attacked.
No big contract.
What's going on with this
We
crap?
got Iraq.
We're occupying Iraq. Defense contractors are having fun. As we spread freedom at the point of a gun. The blood money profits have only just begun for KBRGE and Halliburton. Needlessly sending our kids to die. And the drooling mugwumps still support this guy. An advanced stage of syphilis must be the reason why they believe George Bush is Jesus Christ. We're occupying Iraq.
Hey, how about that?
They're not the ones who attacked.
It contracts.
What's going on with this
We
crap?
got Iraq.
We're occupying Iraq. Boy, George, why do you take so many vacations?
You know, it's hard work. It's hard work. Everybody knows it's hard work. We've done a lot of hard work. I see on the TV screens how hard it is. Yeah,
It just kind of fades off into a netherland. 1246, that was for George because you liked it so much the first time.
That's great.
Anyway, I just mentioned this for anybody out there who is thinking of voting for Ralph Nader.
Don't?
In 2000, in the state of Florida, Ralph Nader got 97,488 votes. Bush allegedly won where they stopped the count at 537, okay? Nader got 97. Now, the percentages in Florida in 2000, because they polled the Nader people, 47% of the people said if they didn't vote for Nader, they would have voted for Gore, 21% for Bush, and 30% said they wouldn't have voted at all. Does it take a genius to figure out that if 2/3 of the votes who went to Nader, that's be 60,000, is a little more than 537, that Gore would have won Florida by a landslide? And in this year's polling so far, without Nader on the ballot, those people who plan on voting for Nader, 51% said they would prefer Kerry, 23% said Bush, and 25% said they wouldn't vote at all if Nader weren't on the ballot. So the same thing's going to happen again, possibly, and very probably, very likely, if you idiots go out there. See, you know, those people are just like Nader himself. That's why they relate to him, because they're stubborn. They're like stubborn mules. Rhymes with fools. Here's a fax from JP, loyal listener, who says, as we sit in our churches on Sunday, from the pulpit comes a booming voice espousing all the reasons why George W. Bush is the candidate for Christians. In the Christian churches all over this country, every single Sunday, the defense for the war in Iraq is, it will spread Christianity throughout the world. And you notice it wasn't too long before we got in there that we had our Getchkis going over there already?
I know it.
Yeah. The missionaries,
Mm-hmm.
who spent a lot of time in the missionary position. Anyway, JP says, I've been a Christian my whole life, and I am today. But if the God that I worship approves of killing women, children, and elderly, not to mention Americans, and if that God approves of removing fathers from their children, sons from their mothers, and husbands from their wives for the sole purpose of spreading Christianity in the Middle East, then that's not my God. It's truly sad to watch these poor souls sitting in the pews on Sunday, clapping and approving the words that come from a simple man's mouth. Religion has crept into their souls and distracted their capacity to think for themselves. Read, study, explore, and you'll find that no God approves of this madness. Wake up, Christians, and smell the Crusades. When asked to name one single thing Bush has done for the good of the whole of this country, the church-going, a Bush-supporting Christian darted forward and yelled, this is a war about spreading the word to those who need it most. Dear God, I pray you don't bless this crusade, says JP. Dear God. I got to get a hold of that one of these days. Maybe
Yeah.
Huh?
I could email it to you.
Yeah, email it. What am I going to do with it then?
Listen
Well, that's
to
right.
it.
We should have had, what's his name?
Yeah.
Fix it come up here.
I'll burn that
Mess
disc.
up my board. No thanks. Andy faxes and says, hey, Neil, I'm sending you this fax to inform you of a conversation I had with my father-in-law. He's the type of person who sits in front of the couch all day and watches television. That's basically his only source of entertainment since he doesn't lift a finger if early all day. As a result, he watches Fox News all day long.
Oh, my God.
I had a conversation last night with him, and he asked me who I was voting for, which left me quite bitter once we were done. These Republicans are so blind to the idea of George Bush and his Nazi regime that they live by it and swear by it. If George Bush were to say, I'm going to end the world tomorrow because it's good for all Americans, most Republicans would say, you know what, good idea. They don't think. They're machines with the ignorance button jammed. All this man was talking to me about the whole time was how great George Bush is and how John Kerry's a communist. We're Cubans, so that topic always comes up with any Democratic president for some reason. He stated that if John Kerry were elected, Fidel Castro would roll down A1A with a fat cigar in his mouth with no worries. At least it would get him out of Cuba anyway. Which in reality boggles the mind how someone can actually think like that. He was also stating that it's the right thing to send all our troops to Iraq because we're defeating terrorism that way. When in reality the troops should have spent more time here protecting our home than go off and fight for a pointless cause. He kept repeating how we should keep sending American after American to Iraq to get the job done, basically till the draft comes around. To him, there's nothing better than that. There is no other way for these people. They have simplistic, mouse-like minds with no real capacity to think for what will truly benefit the greater good. It's sad how all Republicans have forgotten the real reason why we're at war. We're at war because we have to defeat the terrorists who attacked our homeland, Osama bin Laden, not Saddam Hussein and his weapons of mass destruction. As I recall, when we were part of the Gulf War, we took down almost every Iraqi plane they owned. Almost every bit of artillery was destroyed. So what threat? What weapons of mass destruction? The nerve gas he used on his people? Well, good, because he's not the only dictator of a country who did that stuff to his people. Plus, don't forget, Andy, we gave him the gas in the first place. We encouraged him. There are plenty of these dictators. I was trying to get all these points across that it was worthless. We need to listen to them because they won't listen to us. We are weak. Bush is strong. There is no hope. P.S. He's an atheist. Oh, his father-in-law is an atheist. An atheist for Bush. That's like Jews for Bush. That's like Schwarzers for David Duke.
Yay. For Bush.
Yeah, that's like fags for, what's the guy out in Topeka, Kansas? Fred Phelps. Yeah. Hey, listen, you know what kind of pizza he likes the best?
I give up.
Tombstone.
Oh.
I'm reading too much, but I'm enjoying it. I'm just foaming at the mouth.
You go, girl.
Okay. We could take a few calls if we had any, but they're too busy either mesmerized by my reading this stuff. Huh?
We got that one there.
Yeah, but that's line 6. You know what that is. QAM, hello.
I voted for Kerry.
See what I'm saying? Oh, was there any doubt?
No.
I mean, it took me about 20 minutes. I've been reading all this stuff, or half an hour maybe, and this one bozo's like ring and ring. Who else would be on there? A retard, you know, a mental midget. By the way, how's the Prozac supply coming, sweetheart? 5670560, pound 5. I don't hear hardly any women at all. And I don't know how your week went last week when I was on vacation.
I had like 2 or 3, you know.
Yeah, they're just gone. I don't know what the deal is with them. Maybe they're all out busy organizing protests or something. I don't know what they're doing.
Let's hope.
Remember back during the Alien days? I keep thinking about that.
Oh, because that was hate.
Let's have another potluck supper to plan our strategy. Our strategy for what? For hating Cubans.
Right.
That was incredible. Well, at least it gave Miss Kuntz something to do anyway.
Let's have a barbecue.
Right. Hey, there you go. WQAM, hello.
Hello.
But I hope it's circumspect. Yes, sir.
How you doing? I just left an early polling place.
Yes?
And my first question was, could you go anywhere you wanted to vote in the county? And they told me yes, so I wasn't waiting an hour and a half when I left.
Right.
But they give you the sample ballot that explains all the amendments, so you're not just surprised when you walk in there.
Right, and that people should do their homework before they walk in, otherwise they're going to be taking forever and a day to vote.
I think that everybody, you know, who really wants to vote should go by one day, pick this up, take it home and study it, then go and make an educated decision.
Right, that's right, because it's like the guy that goes to the track and opens the racing form in front of the teller with 30 seconds to post time, and he's studying the form. You know, you should do your homework ahead of time, so when you go in, it's like 1, 2, 3, and that's it.
Well, what makes it so ludicrous is you don't hear about most of this until the weeks just leading up to the...
To me, that wasn't on there. But just little minor mistakes like that, you know.
You can see how
just a few computer glitches by those old bitches.
Computer bitches, yeah.
Computer bitches. WQAM, hello.
Neil God.
Yes, sir.
I just left the Broward County Courthouse where they have the early voting going there.
Right.
They are out the door voting. Must be 30, 35 people in line. And lots of Kerry buttons and supporters being passed out there. Gotta pray.
Did you vote on number 4, Prop 4?
Which one's it? Is that the gambling?
Yeah.
I want every kind of gambling possible.
Okay, our kind of guy. Thanks a lot, Pally. Good. Yeah, I mean, this business of, well, gambling is evil. I've told you this before, it's so stupid. We got every kind of gambling in Florida. I don't think there's any other state in the country that's got as many different forms of gambling, of pari-mutuels. You got dog racing, you got highlight, you got harness racing, thoroughbred racing, all of these things. Plus you got the Indians there with their casinos raking in the dough, and we're not getting any of that. And not only is education not getting any of it, the state isn't benefiting in any way, shape, or form from that. They're raking in money hand over fist, over limp wrist. So let's get with it. Yes on Prop 4, and certainly no, in spite of our good young friend that called before. I hate our nurse friend.
Yeah.
Just vote no.
Like, oh, the doctor's really good.
You're listening to Neil Rogers.
Sorry, doctor.
Exclusively on 560.
CBS.
Well, this is General Richard Myers.
Oh, hi, General. How can I help you today?
Well, now look, we got some pictures coming out. The Department of Defense would like CBS not to show those on national television.
Well, Mr. Hewitt had his heart set on showing that piece this week.
I understand that, but I'm asking you nicely the first time.
Well, I'm afraid we can't help you, sir.
Oh, just one other thing, if you don't mind.
And what's that, sir?
I'd like to hear the Neil Rogers 1 to 2 hour.
On the next Oprah, you'll be shocked. You'll be amazed. You'll be talking about it for the next however long until she shocks you again. Oprah makes your wildest dreams come true. Today, everyone in the studio audience, all 276 members, get a brand new liver.
Everybody gets a liver! Everybody gets a liver!
Then, tomorrow, all 276 studio audience members get a brand new uvula.
Everybody gets a brand new uvula! Everybody gets a brand new uvula!
The next day, all 276 members of the studio audience get a 3-foot helper monkey.
Everybody gets a 3-foot helper monkey! Everybody gets a 3-foot helper monkey!
The next day, all 276 audience members get a new prosthetic arm.
Everybody gets a prosthetic arm! Everybody gets a prosthetic arm!
Oprah, giving away great stuff she didn't have to pay for, even though she could easily afford to. And next season, everybody in the studio audience gets Stedman.
Everybody gets Stedman! Everybody gets Stedman!
We don't want them. 101 at 560 WQM. Don't forget, join George, Miguel, and Booker Bryan 5 to 7 this afternoon for Happy Hour Treasure Island, located right off the Palmetto, just north of the 122nd Street exit. Stop by to win some embarrassingly cheap prizes. But check out this week's feature, the Rip Snorton Stephanie Evans.
Yeah.
She's the ping pong lady, right?
She launches anything and everything.
Right. Bowling balls, watermelons, kumquats, whatever it is.
Small children.
Rocking, water also, huh?
Yeah, indeed.
Well, you don't have to go all the way to Yellowstone, I guess.
No.
Rocking the Cuban vote, writes Roberto Lovato in The Nation. Roberto Lovato. George W. Bush's brand of compassion doesn't... See, I'm on a roll now with all these stories. I may not take any calls this hour. Well, too bad. Well, I'm sorry. I'm just telling the audience that because, they get very upset if I shut them off. But I got a lot of stuff. I got an agenda, man. I got a lot of stuff here. Oh, there's that kidnapped lady
Is an Iraqi
Kerry
national
International.
has been talking and gave a few more details of how she was kidnapped.
Yeah, it's a nightmare out there. In fact, a lot of people are afraid to even go outdoors. But nevertheless, so we're doing a hell of a good job. George W. Bush's brand of compassion doesn't please all of Florida's conservatives these days. The limited Spanish proficient president's message isn't translating very well among Cubano-Americanos, even though Bush came to Miami bearing federal gifts of billions of dollars for storm-ravaged residents of the hurricane state, has continued to trumpet his support for the embargo against Castro's Cuba, and has been salsaing up his broken English speeches with broken Spanish. On August 27th in Miami, he said, "Last weekend we're continuing to implement our strategy of la verdad, the truth." Did you see Kerry speaking French, by the way, to that audience of Haitians the other day?
No.
He speaks fluent French. I just mentioned that in passing.
Oh, he's a brie-eating liberal from Massachusetts.
Right, that proves it. Probably eats French fries, too. And French toast. Thanks to Bush's May announcement of new regulations limiting travel between the U.S. and Cuba, significant political divisions have taken root among heretofore reliably Republicano-Cuban-Americans. As a consequence of the free policy changes introduced by Bush's Commission for Assistance to a Free Cuba, Cubans who had grown used to visiting family on La Isla at least once a year can now see their relatives only once every 3 years. The Commission also placed new restrictions on remittances, monies families send from the U.S. to other countries, and changed the definition of which family members are eligible for both visits and remittances, dismissing the Latin American sense of family, which includes distant relatives, in favor of a more waspish North American one, which emphasizes spouses, sons and daughters, parents and siblings. These policies have divided the Cuban political family by dividing the Cuban genealogical family. When the president arrived recently at Miami Arena to deliver a speech aimed at cheering up support among older, more conservative Cuban-Americans, greeting him outside were a group of younger, highly educated 20, 30, and 40-something Cuban-American protesters, waving American and Cuban flags and placards saying, "Bush, don't divide the Cuban family," were members of groups such as Cuban-Americans for Change, which opposes the travel and remittance restrictions with the same single-mindedness that has long defined the political culture centered in fake Spanish colonial streets of Little Havana. For them, the family crisis has supplanted the embargo, and as a result, the 40-plus-year embargo-based unity fostered by aging exiled patriarchs and ex-CIA operatives is coming unglued. The once monolithic wall of Cuban-American politics is cracking. Can you hear the crack?
Oh, is that what that was?
Or smoke it. The election year volatility of Calle politics was previewed during the Elian Gonzalez affair, which galvanized Bush and Gore-leaning Cubans around the old guard Republican embargo politicos to help Bush to victory in 2000. But the Elian saga was only the most public scene in a political drama that will reach its climax when U.S.-born Cubans and those who migrated after 1980 come to full political maturity as they register and vote in the next decade. It's already clear that the division between those who want to define the Cuban family by continuing and tightening the embargo and those Cuban-Americans wanting to unite the family by removing the embargo is permanent, unlike the once immovable institutions that built Cuban-American power. The Cuban-American National Foundation was once the star chamber of Miami politics, back when it housed the desk of the late Jorge Moscodosa, who used to stroll into the White House and help shape U.S. policy around Cuba and the rest of Latin America. Moscodosa also held a hand in selecting people for crucial positions, from local and state officials to the head of the powerful Latin American desk of the State Department. Today, Castro foe Joe Garcia, former head and current member of CANF, outlines the new contours of Calle realpolitik. We're not single issue anymore, and we care much more about things just than the embargo. Garcia's been outspoken about what he feels is the short-sightedness of the Bush administration's Cuban policies. I think that what Bush has done best is to refine how he says Viva Cuba Libre in order to produce a short-term psychological effect that inspires people like my grandmother, who was displaced from her home, displaced from her family, displaced from her culture, displaced from her country, he says. In a refrain heard with greater frequency along Calle, Garcia adds, unfortunately for the Republicans, many of us heard this 4 years ago and know that it means nothing beyond November. Changing on Calle, baby. Although I would like to see, wouldn't you like to see Fidel driving around A1A with a big fat one in his mouth?
Big fat what?
Gary Young writes in The Guardian, it's that left-wing Guardian, you know.
Oh, yeah.
The one where they're sending all of that great propaganda to Ohio, and I hope they continue it. Suppress the vote by any means necessary. He says in the 60s, police dogs and billy clubs kept black Americans from the polls. Today's methods are more refined. He said there's nothing like George Bush. Let me try it again. There's nothing George Bush likes more than extolling the virtues of democracy in faraway places. On October 8th, during the second presidential debate, he promised, freedom is on the march. Tomorrow, Afghanistan will be voting for a president. Apparently, some Afghans enjoyed their new freedom so much they voted for the U.S. surrogate Hamid Karzai several times over after the ink used to mark voters' thumbs wore off. By the middle of the day, all 15 of Karzai's challengers had withdrawn. Freedom was not even limping, let alone marching. Today's election is not a legitimate election, said Abdul Sattar Sirat after he and other disgruntled candidates had met in his house. Bush's national security advisor, Condoleezza Rice, knew better. This election is going to be judged legitimate, she said. I'm certain of it. When it comes to fixing elections, the Bush administration has a way of making the lame walk. By Monday, an exit poll funded by the U.S. government and conducted by the International Republican Institute, which has links to the Republican Party, revealed Karzai as a comfortable winner. After diplomatic arm-twisting by the U.S. ambassador, the 15 challengers withdrew their withdrawals. It was a miracle. A few days later, in the final presidential debate, Bush would literally claim divine intervention. In Afghanistan, I believe that the freedom there is a gift from the Almighty, he said. Back in the U.S., however, the Almighty seems far less generous. Bush's enthusiasm to export democracy is not matched by his desire to defend it at home. With just a fortnight to go to the presidential election, efforts to obstruct and deny the vote, especially in black and Latino voters, are intensifying. 40 years after the Civil Rights Act enshrined the franchise in the Constitution for African Americans, freedom is being crippled. The group most likely to serve in Iraq and Afghanistan, where they ostensibly are extending democracy and freedom, African Americans, is most likely to be denied rights here in the U.S. There's nothing new in this contradiction. In the Cold War, when the U.S. lectured the Eastern Bloc on the delights of democracy, black Americans couldn't vote. The issue of disenfranchisement doesn't affect only minorities. The use of electronic voting in many states using machines that leave no paper trail has sent confidence that a fair election is likely or even possible into freefall. Once dismissed as the obsession of conspiracy theorists, fear of fraud is now mainstream. Will your vote be counted? Asked the cover of Newsweek. Election protest already started. Fraud, intimidation alleged in key states, says the USA Today front page. The former employee of a company hired by the Republican Party to register voters in Nevada says he was told to throw Democrat registration forms away. And last January, the Republican Ellen Bogdanoff wanted a seat in Florida Senate by just 12 votes out of almost 11,000 cast. According to state law, there should have been an automatic recount. Moreover, 137 votes emerged blank. But because the voting had been done by machine, there was nothing to recount. Bogdanoff took the seat. The machines will be used, the same ones on November 2nd. Sometimes these efforts bear the official imprimatur of local officials. Given the debacle in Florida 4 years ago, you would think the governor, Bush's brother Jeb, would be anxious to ensure that anyone who wants to can vote. Instead, he's introduced a rule that registration forms should be rejected if a citizenship box is not complete, even when people have signed an oath on the same form declaring themselves to be U.S. citizens. Meanwhile, Ohio's Republican Secretary of State Kenneth Blackwell attempted to enforce a rule by which only registration cards printed on heavy 80-pound paper stock would be accepted, claiming lighter cards might be shredded by postal equipment, meaning that voters who have to re-register on heavier paper might not make it on time. And last summer, the chief executive of Diebold, which makes many of the voting machines, said he was committed to helping Ohio deliver its electoral votes to Bush. African Americans, however, remain the principal target of the Republican campaign to block the vote. Unlike the 60s, when black Americans were barred from the polls by police dogs, water cannons, and billy clubs, the means today are more refined. Occasionally, the mask slips. In July, John Papa George, Michigan's Republican state legislator, told a Republican meeting, if we do not suppress the Detroit vote, we're going to have a tough time in this election cycle. Detroit is 83% black. It doesn't take a genius to work out whose votes he was keen to suppress. So far, it's been mainly a mix of petty harassment and bureaucratic pedantry devised to imitate newly registered and poor voters, a huge proportion of whom are black and Latino. Take Florida. According to the Washington Post, African Americans in Republican-run Duval County were the most likely to have their registration forms rejected, while rejections for Democrats outnumbered Republicans by 3-1. In 2000, 42% of ballots rejected by Duval County Election Board came from mainly black areas. In Ohio, Mr. Blackwell also told election boards that anyone who turned up at the wrong polling station would not be able to cast a provisional ballot to be verified later. The Democrats successfully sued, saying that the ruling would disadvantage minority and poor voters who tend to move more often. It isn't difficult to fathom what is driving these efforts, which are being replicated throughout the country. The best indication of how an American will vote is race. More than 80% of African Americans voted Democrat in the last election. Incapable of persuading them to vote Republican, Republicans now seek to prevent them from voting Democrat. This task has become especially urgent because voter registration recently ended in many states, revealing that the voter rolls in black and Latino areas have swollen in far greater numbers than in Republican precincts. Between the last election and August this year, almost 200,000 additional black voters were registered just in Florida. So while these attempts are clearly racial in nature, they're essentially partisan in motivation. With apologies to Malcolm X, they're about winning by any means necessary. Republicans support democracy when democracy supports Republicans, but they're equally happy to do it without it when it's inconvenient. That's always true abroad, from Venezuela to Nicaragua, Pakistan to Saudi Arabia. Now it's true at home, from Detroit to Duval County. Freedom is on the retreat, and the man who assumed office 4 years ago, thanks to thousands of disenfranchised black voters, is again leading the charge.
You're listening to Neil Rogers, exclusively QAM.
There's times when all I want to have are Oreos to eat. There's times when every sentence spoken seems incomplete, and everything that I see just makes me laugh. Could it be the stuff I'm smoking? Yes, it's the glass. Eyes really glassy. I'm on the weed, that's all. Just Maui, wowie. I'm on the weed, that's all.
Somebody with that name. The endorsement also will put Schwarzenegger at odds with the state Republican Party, which officially opposes Prop 71, and perhaps with the Bush administration, which has limited federal funding of the research to pacify the right-wing born-again lunatics, the fetus squeezers, the embryo huggers. Man. Now what's this? Oh, look at that. These are the top advertisers that have ads cushioned around the Sinclair ad. What? Do you understand that?
I don't know.
Ads cushioned around the Sinclair show that they're going to show Friday night. On most, not all of their affiliates, by the way, are going to carry it. Most now. Yeah, they're backing off they're backpedaling like crazy. Hit them in the pocketbook, maybe, and they run like hell. Let's see. Arby's. What else? Circuit City.
Mm-hmm.
Fulmar Gun and Pawn in Tennessee. Hannaford Supermarkets in Portland. Huh?
Some of these are for local.
Right, I understand. Homemakers Furniture in Des Moines. Iams Pet Food in Dayton. But Iams is a national product. Once Upon a Child, Windmark, Minneapolis, most of these are, Flint, Michigan, right away. I bet you, in Flint, Michigan, I bet you Michael Moore's real excited about that,
yeah.
U.S. Cellular, oops, and, that's not ours.
No.
And Watson's in Kansas City. Oh, that's interesting. The only problem is maybe we want to put that on there so people can, click on these links. It has links to the, you want to do that?
I can do that.
So people can let them know how disgusted and grotesque and upset they are. Although, again, the only one in Florida that I see on here is Fulmar Gun and Pawn in Tallahassee, and there are a couple of national ones on here like Arby's in Circuit City. But anyway, if you want to, fine. If not, that's okay too. I'll leave that in your fine hands.
I already sent it there.
Well.
Oh, we're fine.
See? Now, here comes, which I threatened to read this earlier in the day, and I keep putting it off. I have no idea why, because this should... Remember how many times I've told you that when I go to Europe, which is about how many times a year?
About 30, man.
And I watch CNN International over there, that they really give you good news. I mean, they really... More like the BBC. They don't suck up to the administration. They don't debacle in Iraq. And it's like a different network. But again, you don't see that stuff domestically. Well, here's the tip-off. By David Lindorf of Counterpunch. He said, the scandal of George Bush's earpiece debate cheating device continues to grow. I just got a look at the full Fox tape of President Bush's May 04 joint news conference with French President Jacques Chirac. In that tape, as in several other tapes I've seen, Bush can be heard seemingly getting prompting from another voice. About 12 seconds into the piece, the leading voice says, and I look forward to working to, and Bush comes in with, and I look forward to working to. The verbal slip-up makes it clear this is no electronic echo or sound synchronization problem. At another point, about a minute and 16 seconds into the tape, the leading voice lets out a loud exhale of breath. Bush does not follow suit. There's no preceding voice when a reporter is heard asking a question on Wednesday. Since writing my initial expose in Salon magazine, I was deluged with requests for interviews by local station news programs and talk show hosts, all of whom gave the story serious coverage. But no calls from national radio news programs, not even NPR, which never did a piece, only a commentary a week late on its on-the-media program. On the big TV networks, the story was handled as comic relief. It made Letterman, Leno, and Comedy Central, but not the news programs, though they're the ones with the video archives which reporters should be combing debates on the part of the national media. If it were just a matter of lousy news judgment, it would be bad enough. But the fact that both the Times and the Post saw the need to publish serious stories about the matter the day the story broke, and that CNN saw it as important enough to air it on CNN International, shows that something far worse is going on, the deliberate deep-sixing of a story embarrassing to the president. The White House and the Bush campaign, for their part, continued to dismiss questions about what Bush was wearing in the debates and other occasions by attributing the story to the Internet, or is that the Internet's? In fact, as has been the case with many of the important stories about the Iraq War and the Bush administration, the Internet is proving to be where the real journalism is happening. Amen, David Lindorf, which is why we put these stories on our website and why I spent all this time reading them and fumbling through them here on the show. Because if you expect to get the real news from CNN or Fox or MSNBC or the commercial networks, you can forget about it, as somebody I would know would say. You know who would say that?
Who?
Well,
forget about it.
Him. Whoever that is. 26 past 1 at 560 WQAM. Hey, IRS tax problems have a way of ruining all aspects of your life. They take a toll on you financially, physically, and emotionally. You can never really forget about those IRS problems. They come back each morning when you wake up, and maybe during the night when you're having nightmares about them. CPA Jamie Buchwald of the Buchwald Tax Firm will help end your IRS problems forever and give you back peace of mind. That's why other top CPA and law firms refer their clients to the Buchwald Tax Firm when they have IRS problems. Why not avoid potential criminal prosecution? Get all unfiled tax returns prepared, even if you lost all your records. Suppose you have an IRS lien, wage levy, owe payroll taxes and penalties. You want to settle for thousands less than you owe. If you need time to pay, whatever the deal is in your case, the Buchwald Tax Firm can help you out. They offer you a free, no-obligation initial consultation, affordable guaranteed fees, and immediate relief from IRS harassment. Best of all, you never have to meet with the IRS either. The Buchwald Tax Firm handles all meetings and discussions. You don't even have to. So call them today and get yourself out of the hole. Call 954-575-2800. That's 954-575-2800. Whether you owe $10,000 or $1 million in IRS taxes, the Buchwald Tax Firm can help you. Call them today for your free consultation or visit them on the web at irsfreedom.com and stop worrying about the IRS knocking at that front door. 954-575-2800.
The Howard Stern Show. Neil Rogers, mornings and middays. And sports around the clock. 560 QAM.
Stop us at Max!
Child obesity is a national epidemic, but how can you teach your kids healthy eating habits? It's easy with low-carb Mr. Potato Head.
Cool! Low-carb Mr. Potato Head's ears are made out of bacon. And his feet are made out of lamb chops.
Yes, all the parts of low-carb Mr. Potato Head are made from all the healthy foods your kids should eat. Put in eyes made from steak or a mouth made from pork loin.
Do we get to eat the potato?
No, kids. That has carbs. That's why you should never eat vegetables or fruit or bread or dairy products.
Yay!
If you want your kids to grow up healthy, don't get them toys like bicycles or basketballs. Buy them low-carb Mr. Potato Head.
From the makers of Little Tikes Angioplasty Kit.
132 at 560 WQM. Here's the poll so far. Which of these groups bugs you the most? Born again, boy.
Yeah.
I hate everybody 71. Haitians 32. New Yorkers 31, which we thought would do better than that. African Americans 29. French Canadians 28. They are the worst. Oh, God. Disgusting, rude, nasty. Anyway, Jews 26. I like everybody 25. Rednecks 24. Muslims 20. Jamaicans 7 man. And Catholics only 5. Well, first of all, I mean, most Catholics think it's all a bunch of crap anyway, right?
It depends. There are shades.
Well, except for Dennis. Well, let's see. What's this fax you just sent me? It's becoming apparent the final smear against Kerry is going to be more Vietnam War vets alleging that his Well, you know what? That stuff is ancient history now. I mean, the fact that they even tried that in the first place and had some success with it is only a tribute to the lack of education in America and that nobody knows any history. But I think that crap that happened 30 years ago, I think it's a little bit too late for that by now. Anyway, Jim goes on to say, in 62 I was 17 and I was just like Bush. I didn't like the war, but I didn't like the early anti-war movement either. I had college deferments, and when they ran out, my father had a friend who was a career officer in the National Guard. He found an opening for me. I even remember what the establishment was saying to defend their position in Vietnam. We have to fight the communists over there or they'll come here and kill us. Sound familiar? It was people like Kerry and Perot that helped to legitimize the opposition to the war, and that's finally what brought it to an end. It is of utmost importance that you and other responsible spokespeople work to get the whole story of the Vietnam era and Kerry's role on behalf of all of us to end that war on the air and out to as many people who are being land-based by the Bush propaganda machine. We can't let Bush manipulate history just to justify our continued involvement in another wrong war. God bless America, says Jim. Thank you, Jim. Excellent point. Where is Jim? Jim is somewhere. Well, he's right, and I don't know what else I can say. I mean, those of us who lived through it, it was a grotesque, brutal war. We should have had no business being there in the first place, other than to defend the big multinational corporations. That's what that was all about.
Again?
Yeah, like the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, things like that. A lot of rubber over there. I mean, how could you have rubbers without Vietnam, right? But at any rate, to make a long story short, as the 60s wore on, and the hippies were busy getting shot at Kent State, but finally they persevered, and more of them, in the early 70s, and finally brought it to an end. But it was only, I think Walter Cronkite, as far as the media is concerned, can finally be given credit. Why don't we have a Walter Cronkite today? I guess what, Dan? You ain't no Walter Cronkite. As you notice how quickly, of course it wasn't his decision, but how quickly CBS backed away from that story they were going to have on 60 Minutes about the felonious reasons for the war in Iraq, which would have been a hell of a lot more important than the one they showed that they got all the heat for about the Guard, which everybody knows that anyway. But nevertheless. And, of course, it's very fashionable to talk about Hanoi Jane and about Joan Baez and all these other commie sympathizers, pinkos, etc., and so on. But all the atrocities, the My Lai massacre, all of these things are a part of history. They're well documented. We butchered thousands and thousands and thousands of people. 58,000 American kids came home in body bags, and again, for what? For nothing. For absolutely nothing. Based on the Gulf of Tonkin resolution that was a lie, so Lyndon Johnson can go in there and flex his muscle. See, Johnson would have gone down in history as a great president. Yeah. So the Republicans have succeeded very well in taking this word liberal and making it into a dirty word. The Pat Robertsons and the Jerry Falwells, all the other right-wing Christianistas, man, they've made it liberal, dirty word. What the hell's wrong with that? And this article points it out very well. He says, wasn't Jesus a liberal? Liberalism has been under assault for years now. The battering of this grand political philosophy has altered the contemporary definition of liberal to the point that conservatives use it as a profane word. They use it to paint their political opponents anti-God and anti-American. It's gotten to the point that moderate and liberal Christians are afraid to be open about their political leanings. Sadly, it even affects their conscience and choices as they enter the voting booth. This is especially troubling to me as a Christian evangelical minister who loves America. Liberalism is defined by Webster's Third New International Dictionary, a political philosophy based on belief in progress, the essential goodness of a man, and the autonomy of the individual, and standing for tolerance and freedom for the individual from arbitrary authority in all spheres of life. I'm not sure why anyone would feel threatened by liberalism as defined by the dictionary. They apparently are unaware or simply refuse to acknowledge the long history of liberals who've labored for the betterment of society and the furthering of God's kingdom. The labor movement of the early 20th century was aided significantly when major Christian denominations got behind it. No average American would have a fair wage today if it weren't for liberal Christians and labor activists. Liberal Christians and civil rights activists fought and still fight against conservative America for racial equality. Child labor laws were enacted because liberals fought for them. Medicare and Social Security exist today because of liberalism. Bleeding heart liberals have long advocated for the homeless, the hungry, the less fortunate, the disenfranchised. The women of America owe liberals a big thank you for their almost equal rights. Tree-hugging liberals fight for clean air and water standards instead of favoring industrial polluters and short-term profiteering that destroy God's green earth. Liberals believe in affordable health care for all U.S. citizens. They also believe in higher taxes for the rich and lower taxes for the middle affairs that is American politics. And we better do the break, and I'll finish this when we come back.
Okay. You're listening to Neil Rogers exclusively on 560 QAM.
Play like men and they look like women.
Absolutely.
Sit and watch the TV with a finger up their butt. Whoa, I'd love to know what Christians do for fun. Read Bible in the cold. I'd love to know what Christians do for fun. Poster white and pasty from the fast food they eat. Inhaling vats of macaroni and cheese. Cut holes in the bed sheet just in case they reproduce. That's just about all they're allowed to do. I'd love to know. Ooh, I'd love to know. Do they get a swollen pud while cleaning out their gun? Whoa, I'd love to know what Christians do for fun. Oh, I'd love to know what Christians do for fun. Sit and stand and eat and sit back down again and chew. And wash it all down with a 12-pack of fruit. Live a life of boredom, up to heaven you'll go. God only smiles upon holy. I'd love to know. Yeah, I'd love to know.
146 at 560 WQAM. What?
I want to hear the xylophones.
I'm not going to.
I gotta hurry, man. I gotta make my witness. Anyway, getting back to the end of this Gary Vance article, wasn't Jesus a liberal? He says Jesus was the ultimate liberal, progressive revolutionary of all history. The conservative religious and social structure that he defied hated and crucified him. They examined his life and didn't like what they saw. He aligned himself with the poor and the oppressed. He challenged the religious orthodoxy of his day. He advocated pacifism and loving our enemies. He liberated women and minorities from oppression. He healed on the Sabbath and forgave adulterers and prostitutes. He associated with drunks and other social outcasts. He rebuked the religious right of his day because they embraced the letter of the law instead of the spirit. He loved sinners and called them to himself. Jesus was the original liberal. He was a progressive, and he was judged and hated for it. It was the self-righteous religionists that he rebuked, and he called them hypocrites. The primary issues of Christian liberalism were birthed when Jesus spoke the profoundly prophetic words found in Matthew. These scriptures reveal God's heart for the poor, the sick, and other neglected people throughout our history, Matthew 31 through 46. Christians should read this text and judge for themselves which of the two groups mentioned there more accurately reflect the political parties of today. His liberalism lives on today, and the issues have not changed much. I'm glad that conservative Republican candidates advocate for the family and a few Christian issues, but we've got to quit pretending that they're the only ones that Christians should consider voting for. People shouldn't call themselves pro-life if they're only anti-abortion and yet feel no twinge of conscience over the unfair application of capital punishment or wars fought for dubious motives. A true pro-life position cares just as passionately for the born as the unborn and views war as a last resort when all other options are exhausted. Christians should look for candidates that will work for issues that are of importance to Christ and that can be tackled legislatively. Sadly, most of those causes have historically been opposed, ignored, and minimized by conservative Republican policymakers. They seem to dangle the moral issues carried around election time. Then, even with a Republican-controlled White House and Congress, prove themselves powerless to do anything about those issues when they convene to legislate. Issues such as eliminating poverty and homelessness in America, true equal rights for all citizens, environmental protection, a fair minimum wage, affordable health care, lowering our infant mortality rate, all go unattended, just to name a few. I have some questions for the Christian right. Why have you not held our current elected majority officials accountable for their failure to address the full spectrum of Christian issues? Why would you vote for them again? It's time for Christians of conscience to stand up to religious and political hypocrisy. Christians should proudly proclaim progressive values today and should advocate for the Christian liberalism that is our heritage and our legacy. And, I gotta hurry.
Okay.
Michael Mayo finally wrote a good column. Happens about once every how many years?
About 30, man.
Now, about 2-3 times a year, Mike writes something because he's basically a sports guy that they shovel off into the some other thing there. But at the Sun Sentinel, Michael Mayo writes, in yesterday's Sun Sentinel, election 2004, blunders and wonders do not cease. Can you handle it?
I can handle it.
Amazing, he says. Brenda Snipes and her crew at the elections office have a whole year to get this 2004 presidential election right, and they blow it right out of the starting gate. So now we have problems again. If there are two phrases you want nowhere near each other, it's election problems in Broward County. By this point, after all we've been through, after the 2000 debacle and Miriam Elephant's reign of error, we were supposed to have solutions. Instead, we have problems still. Nobody wants to hear excuses, and now we have to wonder, with 15 days more of voting to go, how many more problems, explanations, and excuses will there be? Last week, with the first wave of absentee ballots, the problem was contradictory postage information. On Monday, opening day of early voting at 14 Broward sites, it was a computer glitch. Small consolation that the glitch wasn't with the distrusted electronic machines. This involved a computer system that was supposed to transmit voter information between the election department nerve center and early voting sites. So on the first day of early voting, the first images of people waiting and not voting. That should fill everyone with confidence. We were all disgusted, said Claire Stucker of Lauderdale Lakes. Stucker, 81, went to a library in Tamarack to vote, but gave up after an hour. You would think they would test everything beforehand to make sure it worked, Stuckler said. At least we're consistent. Whether it's election systems or election supervisors or elections balloting, Broward's motto is, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Stuckler will try again today. Treated to a very loud blasting of the song Learn to Fly by the Foo Fighters, a rock group whose frontman despises Bush. A lyrical excerpt which I swear I'm not making up. Hook me up a new revolution, cause this one is a lie.
You're listening to Neil Rogers exclusively on 560 QAM.
Gosh, I don't think I ever said I'm not worried about Osama bin Laden. It's kind of one of those exaggerations. Of course we're worried about Osama bin Laden. We're on the hunt after Osama bin Laden. We're using every asset at our disposal to get Osama bin Laden. I don't know where he is. Nor, I just don't spend that much time on him, Kelly, to be honest with you. And, again, I don't know where he is. I repeat what I said. I truly am not that concerned about him.
The Middle Eastern world will be exploded. Saddam had people killed with the gas that we sold him. First time aggressor nation and the only one that's going. Now more blood will be spilled to get that oil flowing. Forget about Korea and the nukes they're toting, and the right wing is drilling it over and over into our heads that Iraq has some weapons of mass destruction. $3,000 people killed are not forgotten. Let's exploit them instead. Hey, there's oil to be gotten. Going after Saddam to placate Osama. There's no longer mention of the name Bin Laden, but no one seems concerned, all comfy and complacent, believing every word of this cartel administration that controls us by fear through media manipulation. And the right wing is drilling it over and over into our heads that Iraq has some weapons of mass destruction. The loss of civil rights is the price that we're paying. We're all suspects now, Nazi Ashcroft is saying. I have nothing to hide, table talkers all are saying. Blind obedient cattle don't have any reservation. Without unprovoked battle and world annihilation. Old regimes must fall and Halliburton installed with no objection at all. Democrats don't have the balls, and the right wing is drilling it over and over into our brainwashed heads. Iraq has some weapons of mass destruction. I'm dying over here. Only Iraq has some weapons of mass destruction.
Good morning.
Our nation is proud of all our workers, so I will double the number of people that have lost manufacturing, textile, and other jobs. We must protect workers and small business owners from the family-friendly, fair, pro-growth system and increase frivolous lawsuits that threaten jobs across America. With all these proposals, we'll provide American workers with a complicated mess filled with special interest loopholes and saddling our people with more than 6 billion hours of paperwork and headache every year. Thank you for listening.
Bye, bye, bye! Howard Stern Show. Neil Rogers and sports around the clock. WQAM. Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
Let's just go get drunk.